Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. Big podcast tonight. It's episode 50. It's the 1 year anniversary, and we just watched the Batman, and we're going to be reviewing it. So massive podcast today. We're joined by Hofmvn. We're joined by Zabrewulf. We may have a special guest pop in during the podcast. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Massive podcast. So I'll let the guys introduce themselves. Give them a warm welcome. Here comes Hofmvn and Zabrewulf.
Say,
yo guys, what's up? How are we? Yo.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello. Hofmvn,
What is up, my friend?
Hofmvn, dude, I appreciate the raid at the very beginning of the stream. I hope your stream was fantastic.
Oh, it's great. I was getting my ass kicked in Elden Ring. Just fantastic.
Man's putting in some serious hours. How long were you streaming for?
I think I went for like 7 hours. 7 hours.
That's good.
Not
That's
bad.
Good going. That is good going.
yeah.
Light work.
Alex, just
Light
as he's
work
talking
from
to
what we
us,
used to
coming in with a 17-month multitasking. I thank you very much, sir.
Oh my god.
I was kind of jumping in.
Yeah, look, it's a big podcast tonight. It's episode 50, which is a milestone. It's the 1 year anniversary, which is obviously a milestone. And we're going to be reviewing the Batman, which is the talk of the town at the moment. Absolutely incredible.
DC's biggest movie ever, probably.
I am very interested to see the numbers that this movie does because, like, I don't know what it's like over there right now, but in Ireland, COVID's over. It's done. It's finished. Like, just like that. You know, no one's wearing masks anymore. I was in the cinema at 2 p.m. on a Friday, and it was nearly sold out. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's going to the cinema. Like, you know, it's like the old days. So
Yeah.
I'm very
love
curious.
that.
I'm very curious to see how this movie does. Very curious.
Yeah, especially because it opened up, I don't know, on Tuesday for people like Alex who went to the IMAX, right? Like,
So good. It was so fun. I got to see it with Max. The whole place was packed. I bought a couple extra seats because I wanted to be able to put my stuff on the side and just kind of enjoy the movie. And that experience was fantastic. You could hear like the sounds everywhere. I haven't done IMAX in a long time, and luckily there's an AMC down the way. So hearing all that on the Batman, oh, so good. I love it.
Man. I saw it in the Regal, they call them like the RPX theaters, whatever that stands for. But their big selling point is they call them like butt kicker seats or whatever. It's like vibrating, rumbling seats.
Oh, it's like 4D almost.
Yeah, and I've done it before and I didn't like it. I saw a Wonder Woman movie in it and I didn't like the way they did it because every time like she would like throw a punch, they would like rumble your back or something. And I was just like, all
Oh,
right.
that's weird.
But in the
Big
Batman
bush.
movie, they used it like, you know, whenever the car engines would be going by, or like they used it really well in this one. It actually made me way more immersed in the movie that I've ever been. It made like every scene that it rumbled. It's a great job. I don't think the director would be involved in like setting up the rumbling for those seats, but whoever did that, great job. Great theater.
That's amazing. Yeah, it just kind of immerses you a bit more. I saw it in like IMAX iSense, they call it. So it's like proper 4K visuals, but it's like blistering sound. And for a lot of the movie, especially at the start of the movie, there was a lot of rain, and I was sitting in the seat and it was really quiet up the front, but I could hear rain behind me, and it sounded like there was like water falling off the roof behind me. Like, it was just very, very well done. So yeah, it was visually, and sound was incredible. The score was amazing. Before we kind of go deep into it, I just want to, for anybody who's in the chat, I'm just going to put it up on the screen. We're going to be talking about the movie. Spoiler warning. We're going to go deep into it. So I appreciate everybody who's here, but if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it to be ruined on you, maybe mute the tab and check us out in the replay after you watch the film. We'll be on YouTube, Spotify, the whole lot.
Spoilers ahead on this one, man.
Yeah,
'cause-
there's going to be big spoilers. Like, I can't keep it in, you know. And it's fresh. I only watched the movie like 4 or 5 hours ago, so less. And yeah, I'm
Hopefully
excited.
you found every clue.
I'm excited, bro. Let's do our usual little round table first. I'm just curious, like, ratings, and I suppose what I was trying to figure out was, like, it's hard for me to find faults with the movie. So I'm curious if you guys have any issues with it. That's what I'd be more interested in.
Okay, so overall score for me, like 10 out of 10. This is perfect movie for me. I don't think it's going to be everyone's 10 out of 10. I can see why it wouldn't be, but like I literally love noir films. I love movies like Chinatown, any kind of detective, hard-boiled detective, you know, with a femme fatale, like that's what this film is. It's the classic noir film with Batman in it. So like it is my favorite genre of film, so that lands for me at 10 out of 10. I don't have a ton of faults for it that operate within the like world of the actual movie. You know, I think that people have had fair criticisms of Batman being like shot too many times with bullets. And like, I get that, but also at the same time, Matt Reeves, just if he establishes that Batman has bulletproof armor in this film, that kind of works then, right? Like you're like, okay, he gets shot in this film. Like his armor is bulletproof. I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah.
I thought it just made him even more of a badass. And like, you know, he's walking towards bullets, not giving a fuck. He's getting hit with like high caliber rounds and still just walking forward. I saw a funny meme was like, why does nobody shoot Batman in the face? And I'm like, like half of his face is exposed, but hey, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they were about to.
Yeah.
At a certain point in the movie.
True.
So I mean, like they were taking that into consideration because, you know, once you shoot the Batman enough, you're like, okay, well, there's got to be a weak spot, and you see his face, and it's like, okay, well, I got to figure out a way to get close enough so I can actually aim for the face properly and take him out. Yeah. And we see that in the movie, and it's like, holy crap, like this is insane. And it like I know we're not going to see like Batman's head get blown off, but it gets so close that you're like, holy shit, like this is scary.
Yeah.
And real quick with the guns, like I almost feel like him taking the bullets directly is almost this form of like self-punishment that like he loves it.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to dodge the bullets. He wants to take the pain, like to feel something because he's so broken inside as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's a good show.
I think it also has to do with fear, because when you can't take down someone who with like weaponry, like holy crap, this person is so strong. This is so like they're scary. They're about to kick my ass.
Yeah. And
movie is great. I give it like, I would say I'd give it like a 9. It's not the perfect movie for me. I think that everything that they wanted to hit, they actually hit. I think that they could have added a little bit more to it. Like I really was hoping for a lot of inner dialogue or inner monologue with Batman, kind of deducing what's going on within the scene and conducting his like his detective skills like in like for the riddles. So when you see it, you know, he's like, well, this is strange. I don't know why this is occurring. These clues lead to something, you know, kind of like inner monologue. You want to hear what the detective is thinking rather than seeing all of the tech that they use to decipher it. They kind of show that with Alfred. Like Alfred pops in and he helps him a little bit. I think some of the other characters help him as well. So although he's the world's greatest detective, you do see that other people are smart enough to at least help him deduce it. Yeah. Aside from that, I think I felt like the movie was a bit too long. I think they could have squashed it just a little bit. Like I'm not saying, you know, take an hour off. I'm saying maybe shave like 15, 20 minutes off. There were a couple scenes that I felt like kind of took a little too long to kind of really tell us the same thing that we've already known. And other than that, like I can't really find any other faults. I really loved the acting styles of all the characters. Everyone did a fantastic job. Colin Farrell's like design was perfect for Cobblepot, spot on.
It was terrifying.
It was so terrifying. Yeah. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon is by far one of the best Gordons I've seen on live action.
Yeah, I don't think anyone ever beat. I like for me, I don't think anyone ever beats Gary Oldman as Gordon. I think he's the best Gordon we've ever had. But Jeffrey Wright was incredible. Really incredible. Yeah, it was fantastic.
It's just a nice. Go ahead.
Like I think Jeffrey Wright's Gordon is so interesting because he almost seems like a Gordon that's at the wit's end, who doesn't know where to turn to, and it really shows you why he would turn to Batman. Where you would be like, why would a commission or like a detective go to a vigilante for help? And they really set up this thing where he just feels worn out. Like he feels like he's at the end of the rope. Like Gotham is so bad, and he's finally got like this savior in Batman. That's why he trusts him so much. And I think Jeffrey Wright just did such a good job at playing like exhausted. Like he just felt exhausted the entire time.
I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Like you really hear it, especially in the movie when he starts yelling at suspects, because he's tired of it. He's tired of all this like bullshit going on. So it's like, help me out. Like I'm trying to figure this out. Batman's here. He's trying to be, the person that we need for this time. And you guys are like shitting on him. But also I love that scene with the Batman like walking in and the dude calls him a freak. But then you see like Bruce Wayne, that same guy's like, oh, hey, Bruce.
Yeah. I love that. Was like one of my favorite aspects of it. It was like proper, like, year 2 vibes. Not like very, like not a lot of people have actually even seen him. Like, he's very new, and the kind of idea of Batman's out there, and it's terrifying, and I think that's, for me, like the opener of the film was just spectacular. It was getting to see Gotham, which is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, the best looking Gotham that we've ever seen. I think Matt Reeves just gets it. He's able to shoot it. It just looks stunning. It feels gritty and dangerous. And just the whole monologue at the very start of the movie with Bruce talking about his vengeance and so on, and they're not afraid. They're afraid of they don't think that I'm in the shadows. They're literally afraid of the shadows. So it's like the paranoia is just set in and everyone's just terrified. And then it's like the cops don't really see him that much, so when they see him they're like, oh my god, why is this guy here? Why is this freak here? Like, why is he helping us out? And I loved the fact that like it really felt like we were at the really beginning stage of a world build, and it was just magnificent. Like, just to kind of go off what you said, Alex, like you were saying you would probably shave 20 minutes off or so. I felt like that. I honestly felt the pacing of the film and everything, and everything that we saw was brilliant and was meant to be there. I really feel that they've proper really kick-started off a universe here, like, very well, and we know there's a Gotham show coming. We know there's a Penguin show coming, so you know what I mean. They're investing a lot of time and effort into this universe, and I think that movie was the perfect start-off point. Perfect.
Yeah, I love the world they built with Gotham. Like, to me, this is the best Gotham City that we've seen on TV. While I do like the ones from way back in the day, like in the 80s, I love how much more comic book that one felt. This one felt more like an actual representation of how you can do a Gotham on screen and make it feel kind of supernatural in a way, but still ground it in reality. I don't know if it was the use of the LEDs or like all the old architecture, or when they were dealing with like Bruce Wayne, like everything just felt so much more Art Deco and like old and lived in, and like it felt way more dangerous and gritty and like much more of a absolute shithole than I've ever seen Gotham feel on TV. Where in like Christopher Nolan's movie, Gotham looked pretty good. Like there were some bad actors in it, but overall Gotham felt like a decent city to live in. If you just have to like stay in the safe places. But the Gotham that Matt Reeves was able to build is just a complete. It's disgusting. You don't want to live there. It's dangerous. It's there's crime all over the place. Like, it felt great, man.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd have to tack on with what Finto said earlier. Definitely one of the best looks of Gotham ever, because I do remember the George Clooney Batmans where just these entire like statues built nearby and whatnot, and everything's so high up. It's like, okay, well, is there anything on the ground really? There were a couple scenes in the older Batmans where it shows the ground, but it's like, it's so horrible living in the bottom section. But at the same time, the architecture is just so weird. It's like, it's a little too cartoonish. But like this one is like, as Finto said, as Hofmvn said, it's very realistic. It's very like, actual what you could see in a bad, city. And it's scary.
Absolutely. and like I loved the whole gothic feel of it. Like you know the part like it's towards the start of the film where he comes in after his first night out that we see, and he's having his breakfast at the table with Alfred, and it just like it looks like a proper like gothic castle that he's in. So I'm like thinking like when like what's the time frame like the like era that we're in this film, because I know Matt Reeves said that he a lot of it was inspired by like grunge and Nirvana and all this stuff, and you know obviously we hear Nirvana in it, but he said like Kurt Cobain was like a massive influence to him for modeling Bruce Wayne. So I was like, is this film based in the 90s? But then you see new cars, and then obviously he's got all the amazing tech and everything. Like I loved like the contact lenses and stuff like that. Like I thought that was fucking amazing. I loved it. I just got like it felt like a movie adaptation of like the Arkham games, which was just incredible. He was a proper detective, and it was just amazing just to sit and watch him try to solve the clues and like doing all his like reconnaissance and stuff like that. Like it was just man, I'm working very hard here to try and find faults with the film. Like I just absolutely loved it. Mex Luthor joined us late for anybody who might be listening to us and cannot see his beautiful face right now. So Mex, welcome, and give us your rating and tell us what you think.
First of all, sorry guys. I was trying to scramble around. Living room looked like a mess. I was like, oh my god, I gotta get this cleaned up quick.
Don't worry, dude. It's all good.
There's no way I could do voice only on this. But yeah, I thought it was great. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It probably would have been a 10 out of 10 if they didn't drag it so long. That's the only thing I felt was just like certain like what Zaber said. Certain parts seemed like they were kind of dragging it a little too long. You know, it's like all right, like we know what's going on. Like let's cut to the chase. You know. And let's get to the next segment. But I personally think that it was my favorite and probably the best Batman movie I've ever seen. It was full-blown detective movie, the way I wanted it, you know. Not so much action, but the action that was there was fucking flawless. I loved all the tech. I personally liked Pattinson as Batman more than I did Bruce Wayne. And I just think the whole aspect of him solving crimes like the way Batman should have been in the beginning was the best part of it, you know? It was a detective movie, and that's what they were focusing on the whole time. So we got to see him be the world's greatest detective like he should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if I had to like kind of find a little fault for it, I would say my biggest deal, and it still isn't bad, right? It's that it's like you don't really get a Bruce Wayne and you don't really get a Batman. They're all just kind of like one character.
Yeah.
Where before, you know, you would always get your Playboy Bruce Wayne, right? But then you'd always have your Bruce Wayne who's with Alfred, who's like the real Bruce Wayne. And then you would get your Batman character who's a lot darker and like, you know, on the streets. And in this movie, you really don't get a separation between the Batman that's on the streets and the Bruce Wayne that's with Alfred, like his real self. They just feel like the same character. And that for me would be like the only fault in their design of this whole movie is that it's just the same. But maybe, you know, going forward, he starts to like kind of heal as Bruce Wayne and become more accepting and stuff, or like, you know, he lightens up a little bit and comes back to his old self. Yeah. And they can do that in like a sequel. But in this one, it just kind of felt like one character. It just he puts on a costume.
I feel as well like because you know at the beginning of Batman, Bruce isn't really himself. You know, he's very lost, and I think we kind of did see this as well at the start of Nolan's universe with Christian Bale. Like at the start, he's not really Bruce Wayne. He kind of is in this transitionary period where he's just focused on becoming Batman and focused on getting the mission done or whatever. And I think that this movie did it brilliantly. Like, you know, he's like during his monologue at the start, he mentions how that, you know, he's become a creature of the night and his whole life has changed, and I think he just doesn't give a fuck about anything. And even like Alfred says to him, like, you know, you need to go to the board meetings, you need to be Bruce Wayne too. And I thought that was brilliant because, like, you know yourself, like when you become obsessed with something, you know, you give it your all and you don't really focus on anything else, and other aspects of your life definitely drop off. And, you know, I think as all of us know, being gamers and streamers and all that stuff, like it's very easy to fall into that sort of thing. So like I thought that was a really good aspect, or a really good thing to focus on for him, to the fact that, like, you know, he's focused on this mission, he's become Batman and he wants to make everything in his life Batman. He's trying to clean up the city as quick as he can. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was great. I thought it was a fantastic portrayal, and I think, as you said, I think what's going to happen in sequels and stuff is that you'll see him begin to become the philanthropist Bruce Wayne more. And I think that I can't remember, someone mentions it to him in the film, like, you know, it's like, your family are known for helping out the city. What the hell are you doing? Where are you? Like, so I really feel like that's what's going to happen in the next movie. You know, he'll set up a foundation and move on and all that.
Yeah, like that's basically what I thought. I thought that I wasn't very convinced on Bruce Wayne yet as a character, but Batman, he fucking nailed it. Like, I think this is our Batman. They finally got it right, you know, like, he's a badass, you know, like, in the beginning, I feel like he still does have a lot to learn, and I felt like at the end of the movie, he kind of started to accept that. Because in the beginning, he was kind of like, I don't care, I'm gonna go beat the crap out of bad guys, you know, and that's pretty much it. I'm vengeance, you know, and you can tell that at the end of the movie, he starts to accept that he's like he's superhero.
A hero. Yeah, he's a hero.
Well, not a superhero, but he's a hero, you know.
Yeah.
And you could tell that kind of like changed his aspect on who Batman was, and he kind of focused like a little less on Gotham and more about the people of Gotham, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was great. I also think that they had the best portrayal of any villains ever in a Batman movie. I'm sorry, Ledger, you know, but like, he used to be my favorite villain, but now I love the Riddler. Now I love Penguin. I loved Falcone. I loved literally everyone that was in that movie. Like, they portrayed it really well. I am a huge fan of like mobster movies, and I felt that Penguin and Falcone were just like great. You know, seeing them just like be like top tier, like straight up mob bosses was the coolest shit ever. And I honestly feel that they shouldn't have told anyone who they casted as Penguin. And they should have just let us figure it out at the end, you know?
You'd never
because
Yeah.
because I think that would have blew our mind, you know, if we didn't know that it was Colin Farrell. And at the end, like, as you see the credits roll up, it's like, oh, like fucking Cobblepot was Colin Farrell. We would have been like, what? You know, like, are you serious? Like, because I felt that he really just flipped it and played that character really well. Yeah, and the makeup, fantastic. Everything was just great. And like, Paul Dano as Riddler was amazing, you know. And like, I thought the portrayal of Riddler this time was like not more of like a joke, but more of like a serious kind of threat. Like, it was kind of scary at a point.
Oh yeah.
You know, where I was more scared of the Riddler than I was of the Joker and like the Dark Knight and all that stuff. And that's what I felt was really great. I think that Matt Reeves did a great job.
Reeves definitely understands. He understands villains.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm hoping that with this TV show, like everything on HBO Max, kind of builds a universe, and we can hopefully get like a trilogy, you know? Because I would love to see more of the Joker. I would love to see more of Arkham Asylum. And like Zabrewulf pointed out towards the end of the movie, he was like, I think they're kind of setting up like the same sort of universe as like the Arkham games. He was like, because in the beginning, you notice that like Gotham City is like flooded. You know, like most of the game takes place up in the buildings and stuff. And he's like, you don't really go to the ground level until like Arkham City. He's like, so I'm hoping that the next movie kind of like gets the same idea and like follows that same path, because if so, it's going to be great. Because the one thing I loved about the Arkham games was the crime solving, you know, like going in, using all your tech, using all your gadgets, finding out like what was what and like who did what. And I love that. Like, all of his tech in the movie was amazing. It wasn't really too like overpowered. You could tell that like he was still learning himself, you know. The wingsuit, I was like, that was awesome. I was not like, I didn't want to have like the big cape like turn into like wings and then like him kind of like fly away like that. I liked that he was just like, oh shit, hit his chest and then boom.
I loved
it. It was more realistic.
And the fact that he fucked up the landing as well, you could tell that was his first time doing it. And I loved that as well.
Everybody started laughing. We did not expect that.
I loved that. That was again, like, just shows his like human portrayal, you know? Just the fact that it's like, he's obviously learning again. It's year 2, so he's obviously learning everything like as it comes, and obviously, you know, he didn't plan on doing that, and you can very clearly see that was not part of his plan when he went in there, because you see when he like goes out over the ledge, he's like, that's the first time he's probably been that high, and he's terrified. but he's like,
Yeah.
fuck, we got to do this. Like, I got to get out of here. I thought that was
Like,
such a great
I
scene.
love how close he comes to the building to hitting it. Like he can,
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah.
veering into he's veering into the building. You kind of see it on his face. He's like, oh God, like I gotta get off this.
Yeah, I know.
Like you'll see later on too, like when they come out with another movie, I guarantee you the new gadgets that they come out with the second movie are going to be much more advanced. You know, that squirrel suit was great, but I'm pretty sure he'll tack on some stuff, maybe even actually do the cape situation.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's like Finto said, it's very new. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's fantastic. Like again, it's him building Batman,
Yeah.
you know, and it's Alfred Alfred doesn't appear to be doing too much to help him right now either. Like he's not really portrayed because I think Alfred kind of learns it as he goes as well. You know, he's not that into technology and stuff, so I think the two of them are going to learn to start building together.
And I could definitely see like the sequel to this movie being not like that close to this movie in terms of time. I could definitely see them pushing it like 5 years down the road, even like 10, honestly, like to really let Gotham develop in this weird way, where it's like Penguin establishes himself, the Riddler and the Joker are doing stuff in Arkham Asylum, getting close to one another. I think that the child in this movie, who is like the son of the guy who was killed in the very beginning, of the mayor, that child had a lot of Robin vibes.
Yeah.
I believe his name's Tim Drake from the comic book, uses or he's Robin in the comics, and he uses like a katana. And the opening scenes, that kid's like dressed up as a ninja using a katana when he's playing with his dad, and like I could totally just see them setting him up to kind of be this Robin-esque character to this Batman.
Interesting. I didn't think about that at all, really.
there were also some other things that I thought were kind of hints as to other villains that they want to introduce. You know, we hear about that 44 Below spot, like underground area that's supposed to be for Falcone and whatnot. But I always thought that was a slight nod to the fact that like it's a freezing area. So I was thinking maybe it's like a very, very like, you know, ball throwing kind of situation of like that could be a reference to Mr. Freeze. And then there's the tube-like design of the mask that you see in the Riddler's like estate, and that gave me vibes of Bane. And I was thinking, well, maybe that's a way for them to show like, okay, well, this is a design of a mask with like tubes in it, and maybe later on we'll have Bane, and Bane will have that same mask or whatnot. And I think that would be.
Don't forget the Don't forget the toxin he uses on himself as well. That was was very Bane.
See. That's sorry, I'm back. That was like the one thing I told Alex. I was like, that like serum looked green.
Yeah.
And I was like, that
Yeah,
gave
that's
me
great.
like straight up. I was like, it gave me straight up Bane vibes.
Yeah.
You know, like what if
bro?
what if that's
Yeah.
the same like?
Stim.
I was like, what if that's the same like Venom that they used to make Bane like the
Yeah.
roided out version of himself, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Let's talk
Then,
about Zoe Kravitz, guys.
Real quick, I just want to tap
go
the
ahead.
villains for the next one, because at the end credit scene, there's no end credit scene, but there's a thing that says like goodbye at the very end, and then for like a split second, they flash a URL at the audience, and people have actually gone to that URL, and it's the Thomas Wayne like political trailer, but it's like in black and white, and then it has the words "hush" over it, and like Thomas Elliott and stuff, and
Nice.
so everyone like thinks that that's coming up.
Hush, yeah.
Hush,
That'd be
yeah.
a really good one. I love that comic book. Hush was fantastic. Great storyline. So yeah, I think Hush is Hush is written across the screen at one point in the movie as well. I remember kind of thinking, oh, Hush. So yeah, absolutely. I think as well, obviously, Dublin's own Barry Keoghan coming in at the very end as the Joker was just nuts.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
So you know, he's obviously they've obviously teased that we're getting a Joker. You know, and I know like behind the scenes, there's been a lot of talk of what Barry was going to be doing in the film. And
I thought that was the worst part of the movie.
really? No
was-
way.
Yeah, I didn't like
I thought
it
was
at all,
great.
bro.
I thought
I
it was
thought
It was a
fantastic.
little weirdly tacked on. Yeah.
No, I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Like they're clearly focusing on, like they're clearly focusing on Arkham, you know, and just with everything we're going to see with the Gotham PD show and stuff like that, I think it's really building towards that. And just I get real Arkham game vibes off it as well, kind of like what Mex was saying.
I mean, but like, which one do you think is worse though? Is that Barry Keoghan scene with Joker, or the scene in Venom where you see like Woody Harrelson? He's like, "There's gonna be carnage."
I really liked the the Barry Keoghan scene was good. I really liked it. I was like, his laugh is good, and he seems, I don't know if you guys watched the Gotham TV show, but I kind of get the vibes of the Joker that they had on that show from him, which is interesting. And he looks like he has a fucked up face and stuff. So I don't know if they're gonna go down the whole route of, you know, the Joker that cuts his own face off and stuff. Like, I think they're going like very close to the comics with this, so I'm very excited.
I just felt like not only the scene felt out of place, I wasn't completely sold on his Joker, and it felt out of place for that movie, where everything felt really grounded. Like, his Joker just felt kind of weird. It felt weird to me. And maybe when he's actually on screen, maybe when I go see the movie again, it'll feel better. But like, first take, I was just like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's tough with stuff like that, though. I mean, Joker's such an iconic character, and to put him at the very end, I mean, it's not a slap in the face, but it's kind of one of those moments of like, you know, part of me really wished that it had just been the Riddler and the Riddler himself, you know, just ending the movie with him all alone, realizing that, you know, Batman's gone. But I do understand the concept of like, well, you got a friend in me, like you got me and plenty of other people in Arkham, and you know, we'll devise a plan together. So like, I can see the positive of having Joker, but at the same time, I felt like it didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to.
Yeah. We don't need Joker. We've been there already. We've been there.
We could do weird ones. We could do Frost. We could do Solomon Grundy. We could go back to Poison Ivy if we wanted to.
There's no Batman without Joker, though.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, like philosophically, no, but we can do a couple of movies without Joker.
True.
Joker should be like he should be the Thanos of the Batman universe, like, so to speak.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got another movie, and in that next movie, again, Joker's still in prison, and we only maybe see him for 5 or 10 minutes. He's not the focus of the film. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I think you're right. Like, you know, I think do some different stories. I'd really like to see Court of Owls next, maybe, or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just do something that hasn't been done before. Like, you know, this feels fresh. It feels new. You know, we're getting a TV show which is focused on Oswald Cobblepot. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like we're already off to a different start, a different vibe. So
well, and Selina's going to Bloodhaven.
I loved the mention of Bloodhaven. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yep, that's where Nightwing's from, right?
That's
where he goes.
He sets up base there in thing. Yeah, I think he is originally from Gotham though. But yeah, Bloodhaven is known as Nightwing's kind of territory.
Aren't they doing a Nightwing show?
I believe there's a movie, and I think there is plans for a Nightwing movie at some point. But like, where's that going to sit? It's probably not going to be in this universe. You know, this universe is very much so its own thing. And you know, I think I saw Matt Reeves mention in an interview that he doesn't want Superman in the movie. He in his universe, like, you know, I've no interest in bringing in Justice League or anything like that. Like, so I think he's very much just building a Batman universe, and I'm down for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we could at least get Aquaman so he can help, like, you know, fix the city, get rid of some of the water.
True.
A lot of fish hang around on those roads now.
Yeah, it's Aquaman's paradise.
I know. But just swing back around, you're starting to bring up Zoe Kravitz. I feel like she kind of stole the movie a little bit in a lot of the scenes.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
I'm a big Catwoman fan. I love her in the comic books, and you know, I feel like she gave us the best portrayal of Catwoman that we've ever seen. Just even down to how she acts as Selina, her fighting style as Catwoman, was just fantastic. Loved it. Absolutely loved every minute of it. Like, I thought it was really good. And I had when I first saw the first trailer and heard that she, like, you know, saw pictures of her, and you know, when she was cast originally, I was like, oh Jesus, I don't know if this works, but it fucking works. Once I saw her on the screen, I was like, yeah, I understand exactly how she got that role. It was unbelievable. I thought she was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think she definitely nailed like all the cat-like movements. Like, she felt like feline in the way she kind of slinked around in scenes and stuff.
I just loved all the kicks,
you know,
all her kicks
yeah,
that she was throwing, like proper like capoeira style kicks and stuff, which is just which is Selena, like, you know, she's just she's so acrobatic and all, like, oh, it was perfect.
And I think her and Robert Pattinson had like amazing chemistry together.
Yeah.
Even like behind their masks or whatever, you could just feel it going through them. Their first interaction in the mayor's home or whatever, where she's trying to break into the safe, like that scene was just so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by the two of them together. The whole storyline with her, Selena's history with being the daughter of Falcone was fucking amazing. The way I mean, first off, this entire script is one of the best screenplays I've watched in forever. This is that classic, you know, Chinatown-esque script where it's like things just start unfolding. You find out that, you know, Selena is the daughter of the mob boss. You find out that the mob boss is actually the one who strangled her mom. Like that whole the way that story like played out and the way Zoe Kravitz handled it on screen, I was full on for it. You're right, she was like perfectly cast. I don't know who's doing casting, if it's Matt Reeves or if it's like the casting director who had the final call, but just fuck, so good, dude.
Someone at Warner Brothers did something right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was honestly thinking about it, and to be like, in my opinion anyway, DC hasn't missed in quite a while now, if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, we've got this movie now, we've got Peacemaker was amazing. The Suicide Squad was a big success. Not the greatest movie, but a massive success. And the Snyder Cut as well. Not everybody's favorite, but a giant success. Like, DC haven't put out shit in about 2 years now. So, like, they're on a really good roll. And I think if the Flash movie slaps, DC are going to have a fucking amazing year. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
They are on a roll. Like, every movie they've put out in the last 2 years. Well, Wonder Woman. But
yeah, well,
other than that, everything's
been
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with Selena, I really liked how they teased a couple of her abilities as well, like the use of the whip, all of her combat abilities, and also her persona. You know, one of the biggest things that I liked about Selena being Catwoman is the fact that like her persona isn't a good person. It is someone who is seeking vengeance no matter the ordeal, especially if someone has wronged her. In addition to that, she's still a cat burglar. So we see, you know, renditions of that, especially when we see her like trying to crack into the safe. And I love that scene where Batman holds her mouth and pretty much like telling her, shh, gotta be quiet. Cause like he's always aware of his surroundings, no matter how much conversation that he has with other people. That, and then one of the big scenes where, you know, Batman is telling her, you don't have to do this, but we all know that Catwoman doesn't play by the rules. And she's like, I got 9 lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the scene at the end where she was like, you know, come with me, like let's go rob a few places in Bloodhaven and stuff, like, and you can just see that's who she is. And you know, and like if you've read the comics, like, you know, the relationship they have like with each other over the years, and it's very much like, sorry Bruce, I am who I am and you can't change me. Like, I'm still like, you know, where they are currently in the comics, like they're about to like get married and all this stuff, like, and it's like she's still going and robbing places and stuff, like, you know what I mean? And he's still Batman, so it's like there's still the bat and the cat, but Selena and Bruce love each other, like, you know. So I think I really want to see that. Like, we haven't really seen that sort of a relationship on screen, and I really want to just really hope that it's not too long that we're waiting to see this story continue, like, you know, because I just want to see more. I'm dying to see more. You know, I'm invested in this universe like already, only after like 2.5 hours, like so much. Like, it's I'm just dying for more.
And like I really love how Matt Reeves treated her as a hero, like not only or as like, you know, someone who's fighting. Like, she wasn't this, you know, fighter that could come in and like absolutely beat up everybody in the same way Batman can't, right? It's like she got took and she got thrown around, and like she was able to come in and save Batman at points, but it's like when you got like a couple guys around you, that's the way it's going to be.
Oh yeah.
And I love that they just, what Matt Reeves did, like he didn't make his characters feel invincible. Like the entire time I thought Batman was in trouble. I thought Catwoman was in trouble. Like they felt vulnerable during this film in a way that I don't think Christian Bale ever felt, or even the Catwoman for his universe ever felt. Like I loved it, man. I was a big fan of just how vulnerable everyone was. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think you're spot on with that. It's just it felt real, but also felt like a comic book at the same time. You know, whereas it's like if she's fighting like one or two guys and she lands one of her kicks, like she's like fucking somebody up, but at the same time, she can't just like kill four people, like, you know,
right?
Well, by clicking her fingers, like, you know, it's a proper task, and you do always feel like she could be bested at any point, and the same with Bruce as well.
Yeah, and the realism of the equipment too. You know, she doesn't have like a full on like, oh my god, this is like her cat suit with the cat ears and everything. It's just like a ski mask that she cut holes out, and then it's got like slight ears, but it's not really that, you know, defined. And it shows like the first years for these two characters.
Yeah.
So like you like, that's why I'm excited that later on we're probably going to see new tech, new equipment, and new designs.
Yeah, I hope they get Lucius involved, and like he starts building out loads of crazy tech for Bruce, and like even gives Selena a new costume and stuff. I loved them flying around on the motorbikes and stuff as well. And oh my god, how have we not talked about it yet? The fucking Batmobile was incredible.
Oh man,
that was fun.
My god, you just see it like warming up like a rocket, and it's a
yes.
I was like,
that
holy
scene
shit!
And the colors.
Yeah, dude.
I have not been that pumped in a movie theater for the longest time,
bro.
Like just completely like on the edge of my seat, like hearing it rev up. I had the rumble seats going, bro. Like, oh my god, it was amazing.
Hofmvn.
That's when those rumble seats went into work.
They earned their dollars then. But Hofmvn DM'd me, and I think it was like one of the first things he said to me was the fucking introduction of the Batmobile. So I was sitting there the whole movie. I'm like, where's the Batmobile? I was like, I can't wait for this. And then when I saw it parked up, I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was incredible. So good.
I love how they weren't hiding it either. Like you saw the Batmobile in the very beginning of the movie. It's sitting in his garage.
Yeah.
And just like waiting there. You know it's there. You're just waiting for it the whole movie. Like he shows you the gun, then there's the gun. And it shows up. And that chase scene was the most riveting chase scene I've seen since like Death Proof. It was, like on the edge of my seat with how that car scene was working, how they involved all the trucks in it. And when when he hits that ramp, when he goes hit that ramp and he throws the rocket in. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I got you.
I love Colin Farrell. He was so good in that scene.
Yeah.
Proper.
If he doesn't get Best Supporting Actor this year, I don't know what's going on, bro. Because like, it's not just the prosthetics. He was transformed in that role, man.
He was.
Yeah, you really could not tell it was him.
Did you guys see he was on Hot Ones this week? Highly recommend watching it. He talks a little bit about the Batman, but yeah, fantastic. He said like something along the lines of, it took him about 4 hours to get into the suit, and you know, he felt just that he felt like he was a puppeteer. He's like, I didn't feel like I was myself, so it made it a lot easier for me to just like transform into a completely different person, because I just looked like a completely different person, you know.
And he did, and like that's like when you say he feels like a different person, like his voice, the way he carries himself, he absolutely stole every scene he was in. Yeah. Like there was no actor better on screen than Colin Farrell in that movie.
Colin Farrell's like grew up like 10 minutes from where I live, and when he first kind of came on the scene, I didn't realize he was Irish. The first thing I ever saw him in was Minority Report, and I thought he was American. And then I found out that he's Irish. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, he's from the same place as me. Like, I'm like, holy shit. And yeah, like it just shows you how talented he is as an actor, that he could just flip it and just be completely different.
Yeah. Did you ever see him in Phone Booth?
Oh yeah. Love that film.
That was nuts. That was such a good moment.
They shot that whole movie in like 10 days. Imagine how easy that was. Like, and that was around the time as well, like when, like, you know, the summer blockbusters were just everything. So like that movie was probably released in like 04 or 05 during the summer, and it probably made like fucking $600 million. Took them 10 days to make it.
Yeah. And like, dude,
so funny,
here's what I was thinking about walking out of the movie theater. This was 100% in my mind, and how good Colin Farrell was in that movie as the Penguin. And then just like 15 years ago, he is the villain in a little movie called Daredevil.
Yeah,
that is just like the most ridiculous, like terrible adaptation of that character. But like he did full send it in that. Like he was that character. Like he didn't hold back on what they told him to do. And so I love that he gets to come back in this film, be a villain, and just be so much like light years ahead of him. Showcase him as an actor in such a good film, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I recently watched him in Scrubs. I saw him in an episode of Scrubs, and I was like, man, this guy has come a long way. He's been in everything, and I love the guy. Like I've never seen anything with Colin Farrell in it, and was like, man, this sucks. I mean, we can sans Daredevil.
Did you like him in The Gentleman? Did you see The Gentleman?
I did not see The Gentleman yet.
He plays
I need to watch it.
He plays like a Dublin kind of hard man, which is like kind of close to, you know, what he is in real life, I suppose, or what he used to be anyway. Because he used to, like, he had a pretty dark past. Like when he first kind of hit the scene, he was mad into drugs and drink, and you know, he was apparently an absolute fucking nightmare of a person to be around. And he seems like he just seems like a different person these days, you know. And I'm just, you know, it's kind of like, feels like a kind of Robert Downey Jr. story nearly. Like, you know, it's just, he's gone from being completely off the rails to just being a down to earth cool guy. Like, you know, it's like serious 180.
Well, that reminds me of like in Bruges. Then, like he was in Bruges, and that's such a good movie for him, especially knowing now that he'd had a past like that, which is why he was able to play such a depressed character.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, he's got serious range.
Yelling about being stuck in Bruges, where he's like, "I'm stuck in Bruges with you." It's one of my favorite lines in a movie ever. I don't know why.
The fuck are we gonna do in Bruges?
Yeah, check out The Gentleman. He's good. He's like plays like a boxing coach from Dublin, but he's like proper hard man in it. Like it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. I just can't get over how good the casting was all around in this movie.
Yeah,
like everyone turned in a great performance. I mean, I think John Turturro, who plays Falcone, he's so subtle in everything he does. Yeah. And they really leave the Riddler behind for about a third of this movie, and he really is the focus of the movie and the crime, which why the script is so good. It's moving on so many different parts, and his entire like kind of middle segment of the movie is fantastic, man. And like the way he plays Falcone is my favorite one we've seen on screen.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. He just comes across as like someone who's like an aged gangster, but you know, you get the feeling that like he's so corrupt, but he genuinely thinks that he isn't. So like, you know, he thinks that he's the good guy. You know what I mean? Like, so I just I love that. I love that kind of portrayal of it. Like, you know, it's fantastic.
And I love the concepts of how everyone that was supposed to be a political figure in Gotham, including Thomas Wayne, was ended up doing something that they shouldn't have done. And although Thomas Wayne held it heavy on himself to even go to Falcone, it was still a moment of weakness, which like they kept saying in the movies, which I thought was very, very interesting compared to like what we're used to. We're used to saying that, oh, Thomas and Martha Wayne are, you know, these, you know, paragons of society, and they're the godlike creatures that are among Gotham, and that they can help everyone, and that they're able to provide. And then you go to this realism of like, holy shit, there's something wrong in the family, and therefore Thomas is trying to cover it up because all the reporters are going after him now, and he's trying to become mayor. So he's like all this is spiraling down, and then it kind of reaches to Bruce at the end of it, and Bruce ends up being the one to bear the weight of the sins of the father. And it's so good. I love the theming in this.
Absolutely. And especially like, you know, everyone always says like Batman's like crazy, right? And so then like tacking on Martha Wayne, like being kind of someone who had to be committed and had mental treatment done and stuff. Like I felt like that was setting up such cool pathways for Batman's character, for him actually being a crazy person who goes and fights crime, you know, dressed up in the middle of the night. Like that's not a stable, sane person. Like even if you're in that much grief, you don't go do that, you know? Like
absolutely.
I just love that aspect.
It's always been the case with Batman, you know. He is a bit crazy himself, like, you know, and that's something that the Joker always says to him. You know, that's why him and the Joker are so perfect for each other. They need each other. You know, it's amazing.
And I know that for the most part, isn't Joker's true goal is to make Batman laugh at least once?
It's one of them
Like
anyway. Yeah, it's one of the Jokers. Like, there's more than one Joker officially. Like, and that's one of them. Yeah.
I love that. Like I think it was in the animated series where he actually managed to get him to laugh at least once.
Yeah.
And it was like the greatest moment for him.
That's ridiculous. How do you not love that?
Exactly. Oh man, I can't wait for more, and I'm very curious as to when the Penguin show is going to take place. Is it after the events of this movie? Is it before? I'd love for it to be after and potentially have like a little Batman cameo. It'd be fantastic on the small screen. But then I'm like thinking at the same time, like, do you just keep this Batman for the big screen and just give us some kind of background building on TV, without having to go too deep into stories, because 2 out of 4 of us here are complaining about the length of the movie. So you know what I mean. I think bring that part of the storytelling to TV, tell it on a weekly basis, like
Well, like, see, for me, like, it wasn't the length of the movie; it was how they used the time of the movie. There was just parts where I felt that they dragged on a little too much. I think if they kind of like spaced it out a little differently, I think the movie time was perfect. It's just certain scenes felt a little too long.
See, I didn't get that sense at all. Like I was completely wrapped up in every scene, man. There was something about the way they shot it. Maybe it's just like one of the, like, I love older movies, right? Like I love slower movies. And so maybe it's like, that's part of it. But when I'm sitting there, I'm watching the scenes between Batman and the Catwoman. Like, I feel like it's almost like watching like Casablanca, like the way they angled the shots on their faces and stuff. And that music, it's got this like slow drive to it. And it just like pulls me in. And I'm like, I'm here for whatever scene they want to sell me. Yeah. But that being said, I did have to go to the bathroom during the movie. So I did have to miss a couple of scenes there.
I had probably the longest piss of my life after that movie.
I think what really got me was the whole like conversation between the Joker and the Riddler. I felt like that part should have been like more towards the end of the movie, and because like right after, because I think it happened like right after Bruce went and talked to him in Arkham, wasn't it? I think it was, or it was either that or before. I think they should have just did. I think they should have just did like that scene and then had him go like experience the whole thing of like Gotham being blown up, and like starting to flood. And then like towards the end, they should have had the conversation of Joker and Riddler. I just felt like placement of certain parts more towards the end. Like the end was set up kind of weird for me, and that's the only reason why I gave it an 8 out of 10. It's just because that part kind of like it went like up, and then it like stood like leveled for a second. Then it kind of started going back down. Then it went right back up, and like that's where I like kind of felt about that.
It almost felt like an end credit scene that was like in the middle of the movie, right?
And
I
felt like that should have been like an end credit scene, because like now it was like, oh, okay, like, are we going to see the Joker? And it's like, oh no, it's just a snippet of it. Then it's like, oh, then why do we have to see that? Like they could have saved that towards the end. And like it was that part where I felt like they were just dragging on the scene of Riddler being inside of Arkham. I'm like, okay, like let's cut back to what he's talking about.
Was the Joker part not at like the end of the movie though?
It was more towards the middle.
I felt like there was like 20 minutes left after the Joker scene.
Really?
Yeah, because I think after that scene is when like Bruce went back to the Riddler's apartment and like he found out the whole. I think was that after or before that?
I thought the Joker thing was like one of the last scenes of the film before him and Selina go their separate ways. Like I thought it was the second last scene.
It's before that. It's like after. I feel like the Joker scene is after they get done wrapping up the flood, and not all the flood, but like inside of the stadium or whatever that they're in. Like after that scene, then they place the Joker. But then we still have like 20 minutes of the movie left where it's like you're wrapping up Selina and Bruce, and then you're wrapping up Batman, like lifting people up onto the helicopters and stuff.
Yep.
Because I thought the Joker thing happened after that. Because
I don't think it did.
I think it did because
you might be right. You're the
I saw.
Yeah, probably.
I only
seen it. So
I only saw it recently, but literally because that's the whole purpose of their conversation. The Riddler's sitting in the cell and he's all pissed off because his plan has failed. Batman saved the day, and then Joker's like, you did a good job. Like like you did great. Like it's already over. He's already failed. Like
I'm like almost sure it was like before the part where it pans back to him like carrying all the people out of the building.
And it was
and like giving them to the National Guard.
It was after that.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because I felt like it was after the scene where like the whole like press conference kind of took place, and like I felt it was after that.
It was after all. It was after all that, yeah. But like the thing that I found kind of weird was, and again, I don't critique it at all. I think it just felt a little strange to me. But again, I still love it. But it's just the movie was going at a certain pace, and then after the Riddler gets caught, it just kind of like goes. Like it turns into like a terrorist attack like within 5 minutes, and then it's like Bruce is like, fuck, I gotta go, and then it's like it just jumps straight into like the final thing. That felt like a tiny bit rushed to me, but it's I'm nitpicking really, like
Yeah.
I'm looking for faults, like
Well, the only addition that I think would have been applicable to keep like the time frame the same was actually, like I mentioned it earlier, was the inner monologue. I know that they had other actors come in. Even like I felt the only weird thing about Batman going back to Riddler's spot was the fact that there was a single cop that showed up. And I know that they had that single cop only for the fact that they wanted outward dialogue between two people to decipher what was actually occurring, when it should have been Batman going in there wondering what the hell that is. But I get it. The tool he was unaware of, which made me kind of question, like, I'm pretty sure Batman knows everything about tools, weapons, gadgets, and whatnot. It's because he has to understand what he's going up against, especially if someone's going to strike him with it.
I think he learns it over time, though. I thought that was cleverly portraying how much of a rich boy that he was, and that he never would have to use a tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he pays people. He pays people to do that for him. So that's the way I kind of saw that. Is like he's learning new things. It's like, oh, okay, that's what this is for.
Yeah, because like he thought it was like a blunt weapon, and the guy's like, oh no, that's like I forgot what the tool was called, but it was like something for like carpets.
Yeah,
a tucker. He was
tucker,
like, yeah. He's like, that's a tucker. He's like, my brother runs like a carpet removal company.
Yeah,
right.
And you kind of see it click with him. He's like, oh, that's what it is. And then he sees the carpet. He's like, fuck, rip that up. Like, so I think that's a very clever way to show how much Bruce is still in year 2 and he's still learning so much. I loved all that.
I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I felt a little disassociated when the van started going off. I thought we were watching like something that was going to take place if Batman didn't stop it. And so once like it caught up to me that the city was actually flooding and like Batman failed, I was completely out of rhythm with the movie there for that part. I don't know what got me about it, but I maybe I've just seen too many movies that like set that up where it's like, this is what will happen if you fail. Like all the bombs go off.
What I thought was very good about that as well, and again, it kind of chimes back to this is only one of his kind of first big missions. Like this is like, excuse me, this is probably like the first like big villain that he's come across. So it's like he fails the first mission. Like it's like he thinks that he's caught him, but it's like, this guy's actually got a load of like a plan B in place. Like and I thought that was great. It's like he thought he won the day, but it's like, fuck, like and it just that realization that bombs are going to start going off or whatever. Like I just thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also a fan of the film noir. Like I think that having those moments where you have inner monologues is important because you want to know what the actor is thinking during the time that they're on their way to certain points in the movie. Like when they're doing the drive, and then they talk about what they encountered, what they were talking to another person about, why were they thinking this way. And that's what I ultimately wanted. Like I understand that there's different points in the movie where they need to advance the plot by having other people help Batman, like basically shine a light. But like that moment, that you mentioned with that tool, it makes more sense now that I know like that's the concept behind it. But at the same time, I really like the idea that, I really like the thought that it would be very enjoyable to hear Batman talk while people are literally calling him a freak and wondering why he's not speaking. And it's these moments of like him just trying to deduce things and trying to be a detective but doing it on his own, and then being helped by others to show that like you need to listen to the people of Gotham. So I think that would have been much more iconic and themed if he had some inner monologue while also like ignoring the fact that there's some cops trying to help him.
It seemed like that was what they were trying to do at the start of the film anyway. Like, you know, it opens up with a monologue and stuff, but then they kind of seem to drop that theme off kind of after the intro,
Yeah.
and he didn't really talk to himself again after. So you're saying you would have probably preferred the movie more if that monologue kept going?
Yeah, just a little bit. You don't need an extreme amount. I don't
Yeah.
need him to be talking all the time. I just need him. I just need to know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
It's fun to know what he's looking at. It's fun to see what he's trying to decipher. But I like to hear what our hero is wondering, like, about the riddle
a very
itself
good point, yeah.
and how he gets to that point.
It's a very valid point. Yeah, I agree.
What do you guys think about Robert Pattinson's place in the Batman hierarchy? What do you rank? Is he the top one? Is he number 2, 3?
Go ahead, Alex. You can start.
No, you go ahead, Finto. I've already been chatting it up.
I don't really, right now, I don't really rate him too high as Bruce Wayne, but I think he's a really cool Batman. I kind of think, and like Christian Bale's Batman, I don't really like Christian Bale's Batman, but I thought, especially if we're just talking about the first movie, I loved his intro as Bruce Wayne. I thought Christian Bale's intro as Bruce Wayne was so strong, going off training with the League of Assassins and stuff. I thought that was just fucking amazing, you know? Whereas with this one, and we kind of touched on it already, but it just feels like Bruce Wayne is dead. You know, he's not Bruce Wayne. He's just Batman, you know? So I would like to see more of him as Bruce Wayne. I think my favorite Bruce Wayne is still Ben Affleck, to be honest. Favorite Batman, I don't know. I really love Ben Affleck's Batman as well. I'm so sad we didn't get him to get his own movie. You know, like anything we saw him in was Justice League, or it was him versus Superman. You know, like it was just all these big epic stories. It wasn't just a Batman movie, you know, or a Batman show. So I feel like poor Ben didn't really get to do what he needed to do to kind of prove himself as a Batman. But like story wise and stuff, I think this could be the best Batman movie ever. It's definitely on par with, you know, a lot of Nolan stuff anyway, easily. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I need to watch the movie again, but like it was definitely my favorite Gotham, favorite Penguin, you know, like favorite Catwoman. I just need to see more Bruce before I can make up my mind on Bruce Wayne. But I do love the whole vengeance side of Batman and stuff like that, and love the tech, love the car. His bikes were cool. The suit was cool. Like everything was really cool. Like I loved it. Like I can't say anything wrong with it, but I can't kind of say that he's the best Batman yet on just what we've seen, you know.
I still feel that he has a lot to learn. Like I said earlier, like I think he's still learning. I think he's learning more as Batman a lot quicker as he is as the Bruce Wayne persona, because I think that's primarily what he focused on more throughout his years of like becoming the Batman. Is I think he was too focused on that, and like people started calling him out, like, hey, you need to start being more of like a philanthropist, like your family was, you know, like helping people out, you know, giving back to the city of Gotham. And I feel like now, like throughout the next few movies, hopefully if we get more, I'm hoping we get like a whole trilogy. That would be amazing. Is him learning, you know, and becoming like a better Bruce Wayne, you know, and also like becoming a better Batman. And I feel like himself will also become a better detective, because like he's still learning, because this is like year one Batman, and which is why like the whole part of him not knowing what the tool was just felt right, you know, because he's still learning.
Yeah.
And I feel like this kind of makes my decision that this to me is the best Batman we have on screen, because it's not Batman in his prime, you know, like we saw most of them already, and this is us kind of like growing with him. And we kind of get to see like what unfolds through all of it, you know, because I think once he meets the Joker, that's when shit's gonna get like taken up a notch, and that's when he's gonna realize that like this is a whole lot more than what I thought it was gonna be, you know.
Yeah. Do you?
I gotta say, for me,
go.
Robert Pattinson's Batman, definitely the best Batman we've seen. And I think Finto's kind of right, where we haven't seen his Bruce Wayne yet. We haven't seen his his costume of Bruce Wayne kind of be put on yet. But I think just straight up him being Batman, way better than Christian Bale's Batman, better than Ben Affleck's, because like he doesn't have a weird voice. Like he just lowers his voice, and it works so much better. It makes the scenes feel more intimidating.
Personally hated the voice changer for both Christian Bale and Ben Affleck. I just felt like it was weird, because like
Christian's was so bad.
Yeah, but
so bad.
So was Ben Affleck's. It just felt weird. Like because I was always like growing up watching like the Batman shows. Who's the voice actor? Was it Kevin Conway?
Yeah, Conway.
Yeah. And that was just raw voice, like it wasn't like no voice changer or nothing. So I just felt like a Batman with a voice changer just seems kind of odd.
Yeah. I think that was kind of like the more so the times as well. Like there was a lot of superhero content out there, and it was all about voice changing and stuff, Whereas now they don't really do it. Like they've kind of gotten rid of it. And I think you're probably right. It's probably for the better. Like, but like with a Batman like that, if he sounds like Bruce Wayne and you can see half of his face, it's kind of a little obvious that it is Bruce Wayne, So I kind of think as kind of corny as the voice changers sound, they have a purpose. Like, it's to mask the voice, especially when somebody like Bruce in the comics is quite involved with like the GCPD and stuff like that. So like, he talks to Gordon a bit. So like Gordon knows who he is. And like, especially if you watch like the Gotham show, for example, like Gordon nearly feels like he's raising Bruce as he goes through life. Like, so like, he's around Bruce a lot. So I think like the voice changer makes a lot of sense in that case. But I'm curious, again, we're only in year 2. Like I wouldn't be surprised if by the 3rd movie, he's bringing in tech like that, like the voice changer and stuff.
Right. But I honestly prefer the demeanor over the voice change. When you see the comics, or not just the comics, but the animated series, you hear the same voice as you go along. But when you think about it, whenever he's in Batman form, he's his voice is just a slight bit deeper, a little more straightforward, very cold and calculating. When you get to Bruce, it sounds almost the same. But he's laid back, he's relaxed. It's a relaxed voice. It's very fun and playful at times. And so like you don't cross the two so that it seems as if Batman is a completely different person from the other. And by doing that, you allow the voice actor to keep his voice calm and to change it slightly during moments where he needs to be serious. And I think that should be the perfect point for Batman. I don't think voice changers help because it just makes it weird. Like Batman's not a robot. I don't think making his voice like super raspy, trying to change it himself, like very harshly is very, constructive of Batman. I think just the slight demeanor change is perfect. Because it like that's how you see it. Like you would never believe that Bruce Wayne is Batman because he's too laid back, he's too calm and comfortable with everyone, he's too relaxed, whereas Batman is like always on the lookout, always paranoid, always trying to be observant of everything. And like that's what I love the most about it. And so now when we go into this point of where we need to rank Batman and Bruce Wayne, I would say that I don't know if I can actually place him anywhere, because this is Batman we haven't seen in a long time. Like even with Batman Begins, we still had a seasoned Batman. He was still although he was still kind of learning here and there, he was still very seasoned. We only saw flashbacks of him with Ra's al Ghul, learning the ways. But with this one, like with Robert Pattinson, this is literally I'm just starting Batman. And we haven't seen this yet. And I think that's why we love it so much, because it's so different from what we're used to. And I think with the Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, I really believe that as of right now, he's very somber, depressed, and trying to find himself. And once we get into a second movie, I really think that's all going to go away, or at least most of it, because although he's kind of been smeared, like everyone knows now that Bruce Wayne is the son of a father who did wrong things, and so he has to make up for it. And so he's going to have to be charitable. He's going to have to be happy. He's going to have to be, hospitable. And so we're going to see that in the next movie, while the Batman is brooding, observing, and being cold and calculated as he should be. But he's learning how to decipher between the two so that he can keep it nice and steady. Because as of right now, he couldn't break it apart.
Yeah, and like I definitely think like the sequel to this is like what you're saying, like this. I think the sequel to this one is gonna make this one even better, right? Where you see why they're playing it the way they are. I mean, the scene of Bruce Wayne when he's at the funeral, and like he is so disconnected from people, he's just kind of got to stare at people, and he just feels just not a part of society. Like that's almost like a brutal scene to watch for him as just like him as Bruce, like how broken he is just there. I think we are kind of missing a scene in this movie as long as it was. I would have loved to seen a scene at the very end of it or so where it's Bruce and Alfred. So like Bruce, like kind of Bruce himself, not any type of mask on. And he's like got like his hair cut. It's not like this emo vibe. He gets a haircut. He's there with Alfred. He's more casual with Alfred. He's more warm. And it kind of shows that like going through this episode, learning about his father, learning about his past, like kind of heals him a little bit and gets him to be nicer with just Alfred, and shows that like there is a separation now between those two characters. And I can't wait till he has to put on the costume of Bruce Wayne and like go out in public. And, we've seen Robert Pattinson like Tenet and stuff. Like he cleans up, like when he puts a suit on, he's a completely different person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
And see, like, sorry. And see, like, mentioning the whole thing of like Bruce kind of being disconnected from everyone. I think that's kind of what makes it harder for them to see that Bruce Wayne is Batman, because they don't really hear Bruce Wayne talk as much, and I think the most I've heard him talk was when he was under the mask.
Yeah, there was very few lines of him as Bruce. That's what I was going to say. That was, there's very little Bruce Wayne dialogue in this movie.
And I feel like that's because everyone kind of thinks of him as like an enclosed kind of like orphan, who doesn't really like come out. He doesn't really socialize. That's why when he does come out, they're like, oh my God, it's Bruce Wayne. Like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it kind of harder for people to like kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, because they don't really hear the boy talk. And that's why I feel like he doesn't have a need for a voice changer, maybe just yet. Like you never know, he might get one in the future when he kind of starts to become a bigger persona, and that could have him have like the choice of maybe I should kind of disguise myself a little better, and.
And definitely because the scene with the Riddler where he thought he had him figured out to be Bruce
I was sitting there. That had me like at the edge of my seat, when he kept saying Bruce Wayne. I was like, oh shit, like did he figure it out, and like you could tell that like
that was
you could tell that like
powerful scene.
You could tell that like Batman was kind of like, oh shit, like already, like this dude already knows who I am, and like so I was sitting there like, oh crap, like what's about to happen, like it's just like he just about to just kind of like Mysterio his ass and just kind of just put it all out to the world that Bruce Wayne is the Batman.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, oh yeah, like you're my friend, like we were doing this together, like we can help catch like Bruce Wayne. And I was like, oh wait, he doesn't know. I'm like, oh okay. And I felt like that was kind of great. And I also wanted to mention, because I got to be getting off soon, was I the only one, call me crazy if I thought so, but like I kind of was getting the vibes of like maybe like Bruce taking in that young boy under his wing and kind of like making it kind of like a Robin kind of scenario. Because because
we
I kind of
touched on that earlier. I think you're up from the desk, but yeah, that definitely had Robin vibes, man.
I kind of felt like he just like was like, I need to help this kid, like I can see that he's hurting and I can feel the pain that he's going through, I need to help him. And maybe that could be this universe's Robin. That'd be awesome to see unfold, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But I kind of got the vibe because how much he was paying attention to the kid, and like he was protecting him pretty much,
I think he just saw. I think he saw himself in the kid though more than anything else. I personally don't like when they don't like I don't like when they bring a Robin into it that isn't one of the Robins. Like I didn't like the way Nolan did it. The way he brought in, what's his name, Joseph Gordon-Levitt at the end, and it's like, oh yeah, my name's Robin. It's like, what? Like you're like he's not Dick Grayson, he's not Jason Todd, he's not fucking any of them, Tim Drake. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really hope that they don't just bring in a random character and it's like, oh yeah, like you're gonna be the Robin. Like I don't like that. I want him to meet Dick Grayson. Like I hope they do it properly. Like. If they're gonna
He just looks-
do it at all, they might not even need to do it. Like, you know,
He just
So
looks
long
at the
since we got
kid.
Robin, man.
Yeah,
I think we're
He's-
getting into the DCEU though. I don't think it belongs here.
right.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be funny though, like if they try to do a strong cop out and be like, "What's your name, kid?" Damien. And I'm gonna adopt you. You're gonna be a Wayne now.
Interesting. Interesting.
hey, you that actually would kind of work, you know, like you never know, like what if that is like Damien and he becomes like Bruce Wayne's like adopted son, you know, like that would be kind of cool because I think he lost both of his parents, right?
Who?
No,
Well, Damien's
Still alive,
No,
right?
Damien
the boy in the movie. I think
Yeah,
his mom was still alive, right?
The
His
mother's
mom's
still
still
alive.
Okay.
No, like I said, it was a cop out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's room for theories, you know, and that's a pretty cool theory that could come to thought. You know, that just kind of reflects back on my thoughts of him like focusing too much on the kid, you know. And I was like, what can come from this? But
I don't know. I know they have big plans for like the Bat family outside of this universe, so I don't know if they're gonna do it in this universe as well. I
yeah,
think it might be a bit weird if there's like more than one like Jason or Dick Grayson running around and stuff like that. Like,
I
don't
hope
know.
they do. Titans was terrible.
no, well, I mean, like, you know, if they get like a movie version of him going, and you know they've got like a Batgirl movie coming out and so on, like so, and none of this is set in his universe. It's all set in the extended universe. So, you know, I think if you do this movie, like if you do this trilogy, I don't even know if it's going to be a trilogy. If they do this trilogy, just like a kind of solo Batman thing, I think it might just slap a bit better.
but all right, gentlemen, that's me. I hate to leave so soon. I'm gonna fix this damn camera issues because I felt that was a huge hindrance on the podcast today, and I'm hoping so with the way my schedule's been the past 2 weeks that if it stays the same, that I could be joining you guys for more podcasts during the week now.
Holy moly!
That'd be great.
Because the way it's looking is I'll be going in a little bit later on Fridays compared to my normal schedule during the week, and if so, I'll be able to join you guys because obviously I miss you all, and it's fun to sit here and chat with you guys, you know, because I'm sitting here trying to talk to my coworkers about all this shit, and none of them know what the fuck I'm talking about. So,
Fucking link the
you guys
podcast, bro. Get them to get educated.
you guys have a good one.
We're spitting out knowledge every fucking Friday here, so
Yeah,
you know what
I love it. I love it.
Get them on it.
But I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.
Later, dude.
You
Thanks
guys
for
have
being
a good
here.
one.
Easy.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Later, boys.
Can I just say too, to kind of pick this up at a different point, the scene after when Batman jumps to cut the electrical cord, that you know, from it stopping frying everybody that's in the water, I really believe that's one of Matt Reeves' best scenes. Right after that, when Batman is leading everyone through that through the water,
That was
with
such
the
a beautiful
flare.
scene. Yeah.
It's one of the
Yeah.
best things I've ever seen Matt Reeves direct, man. Like it was such a shot that
Yeah.
like I was just blown away sitting there in awe of like just the visuals of that scene, the colors of it.
Yeah.
And it's more of the theme of like you can't just keep being vengeance. You can't just keep going after villains. You have to help the people. You have to be the hero for the people that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the point where he realizes I'm a hero. You know, I'm gonna sacrifice myself to save the general public. Like,
Yep. God, it was so good, bro.
Yeah,
Like
it was so
when he
good.
just went to jump, I was not expecting that. Like I was not expecting the cut. I don't know why. I thought he was gonna like climb up to the box and like, you know, turn it off or something. And he just like pulls the thing off his chest and like yeets it off. And
I
like,
loved how
we're
he was
cutting this.
using that as a weapon and all. It was really cool. Really cool. They didn't really mention it too. I thought they were gonna go into a like bigger depth of the actual sign, because I know like there was a lot of theories when the first suits came out that it was the gun that killed his parents chopped up and made into a batarang or whatever. Like, and I thought they might have explained that, but they just kept it a kind of mystery.
I feel like if people didn't catch on to that, it would have been in the movie. But Matt Reeves is like, all right, everyone
Yeah.
figured it out. Never mind. Whatever. We're just gonna leave it out. It's
Fair.
fine.
Fair. Yeah, they get it. They get it.
I get it. Dude, I gotta go back and rewatch all the old Batman movies, especially Christian Bale's. But didn't the mob feel like way more into this one? Because I know we had Falcone during like the Joker's, right? Like the mob was in Batman movies, but I don't know why they felt like more of a part of Gotham in this one, and maybe it's because the entire PD was so corrupt with them. But the mob felt like a real presence in this Batman in a way that I feel like we haven't gotten on screen yet.
Yeah.
I really feel like the difference between the Christopher Nolan like Batman style mobs and this Matt Reeves style is the fact that a lot of the thugs and stuff you see are just thugs. And you only see like the leaders talking amongst themselves as a collective on like at a table. They're trying to decipher what they want to do with the town or the city of Gotham, and you know it's a little dissociative from like the rest of the world. Whereas like you see when Batman shows up in front of the club, the thugs actually have dialogue. They know he's not supposed to be in there. So it's a little more realistic in the fact that like thugs can talk, thugs can speak. You know, they're allowed to think and to react the way that they need to in order to be up against the Batman. And even against Bruce, they were like, "The hell are you doing here?" Like that was really cool. Those are really cool moments. We only see like two leaders, like a commander and a captain, right? Like we only see Falcone and Cobblepot as like the main leaders.
Yeah.
And that gives the rest of the thugs like time to actually speak amongst each other, you know, especially when it comes to the scene where they're coming out the door and they have the money and they're like, well, don't just stand there, go do something. You know, they're talking to like, what do you want me to do? It's like, you know, because it's real stuff. It's like, this is happening now. You need to tell me what to do.
Yeah. Sure.
I think that's a good point. Like the twins were such a good part the
Yeah, they actually were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love when Selena snatched the bag. You know, when she like just did the U-turn. It's like, yoink, and I'm like, see ya. That was so funny.
I love when they kicked out one of the twins. Like he just wasn't there. He walked out and he just shut the door on him.
Yeah, I know, dude. That was so funny. I loved how as well, you know when like there was a scene with like Batman and then you see like he like runs down and takes like kind of half the costume off and then he jumps on his bike and he's just like a civilian driving around. I thought that was very intelligent because it's like I always find it kind of silly that you know you just see Batman rocking around Gotham on a bike or something, like, you know, it's like if Gotham's really as dangerous as it like comes across to be, you know, like just Batman driving around willy-nilly, like, you know, you'd be getting shot at and shit, like, you know what I mean? So I thought it was very very kind of real and very clever that, you know, it's like second he goes onto the bike he's kind of just in like a kind of normal disguise, like, so he can like track people down and stuff. It was very kind of detective, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
How about the one of the things I learned about this film through like TikTok and stuff is that they actually use the technology that the Mandalorian does. So instead of using green screens and all that, they did a lot of the actual just digital screens to project, and like a lot of the scenes where they're up on where the bat signal was kept on like the skyscraper and stuff that was kind of in construction. It seems like that were all done with like that digital look or whatever. And I am just so happy with this technology because I feel like we're getting scenes lit and scenes like acted. And you know, if you go do that in real life, you have to nail that scene in like 30 minutes because the lighting's going to change and you can't do it.
Yeah.
But with this, like they probably got a lot of good takes in there so we could actually get good performances from everyone there and have it look the same way, all that.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even tell. I couldn't even tell if I didn't see those videos before the movie, I would have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Like, you know, it's like, rewind the sky there, we gotta go again. Like, you know. Yeah. It's like, give me that perfect little sunset there again. We'll just run that line again. Yeah. I'd say it's an absolute saving grace for behind the cameras and how they're making movies now. You know, like I'd say they save so much time because it's like, you know, as you say, like, you know, if they fuck up and don't get the shot that they want, it's like, oh, we gotta wait till tomorrow now to shoot this again, and we hope it doesn't rain and all this stuff. Like, you know, it's very dependent on the weather. Like, so now it's just like they just create their own weather. Like, you know, it's crazy. What a time to be alive. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How
did you guys feel about the placement of the bat signal? Because you like traditionally it's on top of, you know, GPD.
Yeah.
It's just placed in a construction area on its own. Only it seems like only a few people know where it actually is. So
yeah, I think the way that they're kind of like telling this story you know, a lot of people on the police force don't believe, or they're like, why are you working with this freak? Like, what's going on? Like, so I think, like, Gordon himself doesn't really, like, he has to kind of keep it a secret to where he's meeting the Batman and so on, because I don't think he could trust anybody bar him, you know? So I thought it was kind of clever in a way, and I think as the story progresses, the bat signal will probably get moved. Like, when he becomes commissioner, for example, it'll be like, we're working with this dude, you know, I trust him with my life, and you know what I mean, the signal's here, anyone throw it on when we need him, like, you know. But I think now it's kind of like I love the part where they both pull up and it's like, did you not turn that on? You know, the way Catwoman turns it on to get him to come over. He's just like, are you not up there? He's like, no, I thought it was you turned it on. It's like no one else knows about it, you know. I thought that was very good.
Yeah, I really didn't recognize it at first that thing wasn't on top of the GCPD. Then eventually it hit me, and you're right. It really does work. It shows you the place that Batman, how he's not trusted by the GCPD, how he's only really trusted by Gordon and maybe like a handful of other cops at this point. And that's part of the reason why I think there's going to be a big time jump to the next movie, because there's going to have to be enough time to where Batman like establishes himself in Gotham, and a lot of people trust him. You know, Gordon's got to become the commissioner. Like, I really feel like there's a lot that's going to have to take place between now and the next movie.
Yeah.
Which is good, because then it gives you them a lot of time or a lot of room to build, like, you know, there's a lot of story that we missed, but they can like kind of reference back to it and make the world feel like it's got history, like this one does. Like, this makes Gotham feel older than the movie, which I don't think we really get when we're watching Batman movies.
Yeah.
Like, Gotham feels like it has a history in this movie. And that's why, like you're saying with the Court of Owls, like that totally could be coming up next, because Matt Reeves actually made Gotham feel like it's a city that's a couple hundred years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a great placement for villains that we already know of. Like, just throw them in. You know, it's been years later. Batman's already dealt with them. But, you know, it could be a collective situation where, you know, they're gaining more friends, because a part of what I think is happening too is that Joker wants to make friends with villains who have been wronged by Batman, in a sense. So if we see that, you know, some of the villains that we already know and love are already established in the second movie, and that they've been caught before, and that there's like newspapers of them being caught and like what their motives were, you know, it'd be more emphasized on the fact that like there's more friends of the Riddler and the Joker, and then they can enact their plan to escape Arkham. Yeah. And then we could have a whole situation of like a breakout situation, and then they go into the city, and then it just gets crazy. And I do love that. I agree with Hofmvn. Like, I love that the city has age to it, and that it's been a long time since, you know, since the Batman was even conceived, that like it's been just growing. And you really see that with the GCPD, which I think was one of the most interesting points of the story, was the fact that like they were like in the top, like near the top floor of the GCPD, showing how large that building actually is. Mm-hmm. And we don't see that in other movies. We just know that it's a large building. Most of the time they're on ground level. Then they go up the elevator or the staircase, and then they go turn on the bat signal. We never actually got to see like the inside of it, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I love the sound effects whenever the cops are on screen too. They sound so many of them. There's just nothing but like footsteps.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's such a good effect.
Yeah, it was. I think this universe is in a very like unique and kind of very creative spot where they have a really good opportunity. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the Gotham TV show that was on, I don't know which network aired it. It's on Netflix over here, but where they follow the young Bruce Wayne. But I thought that show was very good, because what it did was it gave us 5 seasons to be introduced to people like Enigma and Joker and stuff like that, and actually watch them kind of break, like in Breaking Bad, like watch them turn evil. Like Enigma was a good guy at the start, and you see he just kind of has a psychological break and just turns into a villain. And I think if they could do this right, they can bring in people like in that show. They can bring in people like Frost, and they can bring in like Poison Ivy and all these sort of people that I don't really want to see more like kind of origin stories for these people on the big screen. I want to like kind of let the world build, you know, on the small screen. And just the fact that they actually have the opportunity to do this now, I think is just going to be really strong for this world to build. Very excited. Like, I think if they even take half of the ideas that the Gotham show did and put them into this new Gotham show, it's going to be a smash. Just because I love this Gotham so much. Like I love this version of Gotham that we have now, and I think like if they did like a Gotham show, like what they're going to obviously do, like a Gotham show in this Gotham, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be great. And I'm really curious to see what this Penguin show is going to be about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Penguin show. Like he's in 4 hours of makeup to do the Penguin show. That's crazy, bro.
I think that's
going to be insane.
He said by the end of the movie, Colin said they got it down to 2 hours by the end of the film. Like they were getting quicker and quicker as the movie was going on. So I'd say now they could probably have him in the suit in 2 hours. But yeah,
they were speed running it.
Yeah, they just got quicker at doing it. But yeah, like I'm so excited. Like I'm dying to see more of this world unfold.
One of my questions about the future of Batman and all the other things that could take place. How would you guys feel if they added characters that are kind of like silly because they were in the animated series or in the comics, such as like ventriloquist or Dollface? Like how would you feel if they did that, or even a more serious person like Killer Croc?
I would love to see it, and I think Matt Reeves can absolutely do it. You know, Riddler is someone who I don't think would think would be able to translate to like a modern day movie, right? Jim Carrey had a great performance in it, but it was of its time. There's no way they could do that again. The Batman in the Batman animated series, that Riddler wouldn't make it to screen, but he took this idea of the Riddler and turned him to this like terrifying character who's scarier than any on-screen Batman villain we've seen. So I think that any kind of weird character, Matt Reeves could probably find a way to write that character to do what he did with Riddler.
Yeah, because
he humanizes people more, like characters more. So like, would he humanize Killer Croc more?
Yeah.
Or like, would it be like an actual like monster? Like, you know, I don't know if monsters fit in that world, especially like now from what we've seen. It seems like very much kind of in the real world. So I don't know if like we have Killer Croc and King Shark and all these mad things going on, you know?
Well, if we're going to have like a crazy looking Joker, as we've seen like in the silhouette, I don't see the problem in having a Killer Croc. I don't see the problem in having like weirdly faced people like actually looking like monsters, because in reality they are monsters. They kill people. They take what they want, and they don't give a shit about who they get through. So like, imagine, you know, ventriloquist, you know, it's like a gangster style person. Maybe it was hired by Cobblepot himself, or even Dollface, you know, someone who's just this weirdly like young style person who like is torn apart because they can't age. They always look just so young, and that stuff's horrifying. And I think that could fit, because this show in itself, the show in itself can have a little bit of horrifying moments. Like you see the darkness and whatnot. You don't know what's in the darkness.
Yeah.
And they still showcase it at the end too, especially with like Riddler and Joker.
Yeah, they're gonna send Killer Croc on. You guys ever heard about the drug crocodile, the Russian drug?
No.
It's like a form of heroin, and it's so bad that if you don't stick it right into a vein, if you just like get it right into your skin on it or whatever, it like turns your skin crocodile-y.
Oh
like
my
it's like
God.
kind of all scaly looking. So that's gonna be the Killer Croc. He's gonna be a drug addict turned villain because of all this.
The drops that they take, like it goes wrong.
Like, because even for Bane too, like he's a monster. Like he takes venom, and it makes him like super strong. But he's also very intelligent, which is why I think, you know, The Dark Knight Rises fit well for his persona, in the fact that he was this very smart man.
Yeah.
So you never know. Like I think I would love to see some like wacky characters be like personified in a more dark persona, just like they did Riddler. Like that was great. I did not expect Riddler to be this dark. I expected it to be like more of a riddle me this, riddle me that kind of persona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he was twisted, and I think it was like you know, he has like a psychotic break, and I think it was really brought across, like how he's just like screaming as he's like pounding people's heads in and stuff. Like I was like, this guy's someone who's had a psychotic break. Like it was, yeah, it was great. Like it was,
Yeah.
I don't know, like from the vibes that I get off the show, like off the world now, is that it's gonna stay very kind of grounded to Earth, if that makes sense. I would what I personally would love to see is, you know, Court of Owls, that sort of thing. Maybe like other kind of like smaller like villains that maybe we haven't seen too much of on the big screen yet. It'd be nice just to kind of flip the script a little bit. Like I don't really like need to see Scarecrow again. I don't need to see Bane right now. You know, I'd like to see, like, you know, Victor Saz, or, you know, like people like that, like, you know, and like I think Joker is obviously going to happen, but excuse me, like I don't know, I just think this seems like it's very much more so like real, if that makes sense. Like I don't think they go too like supernatural with it, if that makes it, like, you know, I don't know, that's just the feeling I get now. And maybe, and like I think if they're gonna try and transition into the kind of wacky and wonderful, I think use the Gotham show for that, like, you know, like introduce us to Frost and then let us like grow attached to the character, and then there's like a freak accident that turns him into Mr. Freeze, like, you know. I think that like, you know, I think that would be cool. But like I don't know if like the vibe of the first film, I think if we went into a second film and started seeing all this crazy shit happen, I just think it'd be a real like strange transition, if that makes sense. Whereas they could use that Gotham show to kind of slowly get us there, and then it's like boom, movie 2 after season 1, you know.
Yeah. I think the dark angle works, like, you know, instead of them, whenever they could go weird, they go darker. I think that works. I would really love for them to, because I do want to see the Joker in these universes eventually, but I would love to see them kind of do Court of Owls next, like Finto's been talking about, and then like lead up into a Joker where we just have him in the background, and then lead a Joker up into like the killing, what is it called, the Killing Joke or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be a great way to like kind of finish off a trilogy, is do that story. That's like brutal. It's a brutal story for Batman, and one I think that would really cap off this like dark, menacing, just doesn't let up nature of that Batman movie.
How long do you think until we get to see, you know, the iconic characters that we know of, like Lucius Fox, Barbara Gordon, Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne? Well, Damian Wayne's going to be a long ways away. That has to be a thing with like Talia al Ghul.
I don't know, man. I don't know if we ever get there. Like, you know, I think the way that they're doing Batman is like, you know, you would need to commit to an actor for 10 years and put out like 5 or 6 movies to kind of get there and for it to make sense, like pacing wise. Whereas it seems like DC, every time they get, if they're lucky enough to get a trilogy, it's like recast, let's start again, like, you know. So I don't know if they'll ever get there, you know. I think if they are going to try and get there, I think what Hoffman's saying about like big time jumps between movies would make sense. Like each film is like a decade, for example, or something like that. Like, you know, it's 10 years between year 2, so we're in year 12 in the second movie, and then by the third movie we're in like year 22 or something like that. And, you know, he's gotten Robins, maybe more than one, and, you know, there's a Nightwing there, and stories with the Joker and Jason Todd. You could do the whole Red Hood thing and all. It'd be fucking great. Like, but yeah, I just don't know if they get there. Like, I don't know what the plan is. Like, you know,
How old is Deathstroke at this, around year 2? Like, is he old enough to be a contender, like someone to worry about?
I think he's always been like older than Bruce by like maybe 15, 20 years or something like that, maybe. Because I think like when he first kind of comes into it, he's been the army dude, and he's kind of like a retired like Marine, and he gets like experimented on. So he's always kind of like, when Batman's in his 20s, Slade's kind of in his 40s, sort of thing. So yeah, like you could bring in Deathstroke fairly early on. I'd love that. I think they're
Deathstroke hired by the Court of Owls to kill Batman.
Yeah, you could do that. You really could. Like, you could easily do that. Yeah, you could get like, you could do the whole like Black Mask thing, putting out, you know, and then you get like Deadshot in and all that sort of shit. Like, you could do like Batman Origins and stuff. Like, oh yeah, there's like so many ideas that could go out there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say those are the more serious people that we could probably place into that might fit your portfolio better, Finto. So that's why I was thinking maybe we could look into the more serious characters that just don't take crap, they don't want to joke around, they want to just take out Batman.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I kind of like that it's a completely separate universe as well. So like you could bring in somebody that's Deadshot, and you don't have to try and bring back Will Smith or any of this shit. Like they could just get a new character. Like and as much as I love like Joe Magliano as Deathstroke, I'd like to see the character more than them kind of holding off on the character because there's all these disputes going on with Snyder and all this shit. Like I'd rather just again recast and just get someone else in there. Like
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I hear rumors now that potentially he could be coming back as Deathstroke in the DCEU. Well, we'll see. I don't know.
It'd be fun to see, but yeah, I think you're right. I think like Matt Reeves just wants to play in his own sandbox, and he doesn't want to deal with any of the nonsense
Yeah,
that's going on with the rest of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, he's just like someone said, like what Superman's in this universe, and he's like, no, I don't want one at all.
No. And if we do, it'd be great to see his take on Superman, though.
Yeah. I saw a thing here. Actually, I took a screenshot of it earlier. Hang on, where is it? DC's like upcoming movies. So you've got Black Adam, The Flash, Aquaman, Shazam 2, Blue Beetle. There's a new Green Lantern. I think that's a TV show. Supergirl, Wonder Woman 3, Wonder Twins, Joker 2.
No way.
Wait, Wonder Twins is DC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Joker 2, a project called The Amazons. I don't know if that's like TV or if it's like another movie, but there's Wonder Woman 3, and then The Amazons, Black Canary, Static Shock, and Zatanna as well.
Zatanna's getting a show?
I think she might be getting a show or a movie. I think they're planning on doing something with like Justice League Dark, so they might be trying to intro that sort of stuff. But like DC's got plans, man. Like that's like most of the comic kind of universe right there. So I'm excited, but DC's just such a like Warner Brothers is such a mess. Like that they've got Michael Keaton coming back in the summer, like, and then it's like, how does he fit into all this? Like, oh man. It's kind of messy.
I don't know, bro. But like I do like that, even though Warner Brothers is a mess with all this going on, it's like someone like Matt Reeves is able to get his own reins and like do his own thing off his own little corner where like no one could do that in Marvel. Like you couldn't do that. Like Captain America, you couldn't just be like, all right, can I do another take on Captain America and just like kind of fuck off my own universe? They would never let that happen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the kind of scary parts of the MCU is that if there's a big fuck up of a movie, like, a lot of people didn't like Eternals, you can't just start again. You can't just do it again. It's in the timeline. It's part of the story now, whether you like it or not, it's there. And I think with DC just are always like, yeah, look, Batman's kind of its own thing and always has been. So it's like, yeah, let's just keep rebooting. Let's just keep going,
Mm-hmm.
But this was just fantastic. What do you think?
I'm so happy with this film that we actually got it, bro.
Yeah.
Like I literally felt a little emotional in it. That I was like sitting there watching a modern day noir film. I was like, I never thought I would see this.
Yeah, it really was magic. What do you think? Like a lot of people are saying, like they're kind of comparing this to the Joker movie, the one with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's like DC just need to focus on doing stuff like this, like solo projects like this. Like imagine they did a dark kind of like, or like a gritty kind of Superman movie, or a gritty kind of I don't know, like who else could you do? Like, no, I'm not gonna say Flash. Flash is always not really like Flash isn't very gritty, but like even like an Aquaman movie, like in this kind of like vibe and style, would just really pop off, like and
But like I don't think they can. I think that the Batman and the Batman villains are the only ones that can do it, and it's because of Gotham. I think Gotham is what separates Batman and his villains from every other person in the DC universe. Like Bloodhaven to a lesser extent, but Bloodhaven's based off of the idea of Gotham, right?
Yeah, it's an extension of the Batman family, like I suppose.
Right. So like I don't think you could do this in any other place. But you're right. Like the Joker, that movie was kind of in a similar vein. Like they're definitely not in the same universe, right? But they kind of speak to each other in terms of it being a really run down, crazy city where things are going on that just are not plausible in our world, but like are kind of plausible in our world. Like they're just a couple of ticks off from it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like with Batman and his characters, they really are all like in a world of their own in terms of like, you know, Superman and Wonder Woman, and I think like the closest thing would be Green Lantern. I know Green Lantern deals with a lot of like different entities, and like that's about as close as they can get. But other than that, Batman's like they're you know, heroes and villains are their own separate beings compared to the rest of the DC universe, and I think that's why they want to touch on it so much, because these characters are dark, they're brooding, they're like downright evil, they do crazy shit, they're monsters. Like a lot of like, you know, you have King Shark and Killer Croc and Solomon Grundy, you have Frost, Poison Ivy. Like these are all people who have like been altered to the point where they're monsters. And you know, like with Aquaman, I can't see Aquaman being dark. I see Aquaman as a shining figure, much like Superman. Superman's a shining figure of hope, and you know, Batman deals with all the the backyard stuff, like everything that's just not going well.
Yeah.
So, and it's crazy.
Yeah, they're doing a Black Canary movie, and I know they're planning on bringing a live action version of the Green Arrow in for the first time. So I'm curious to see, because that would be a kind of Gotham vibe as well, like off Star City and stuff like that, like where Green Arrow's from. I'd love to see that done right on the big screen. I think it'd be fantastic, because it'd be kind of like a Hawkeye movie, like, you know, that sort of style, like where we haven't really gotten that on the big screen. Whereas I think, like, you know, it'd actually probably, after a movie like this, I think if you were to follow around an Archer like Oliver Queen, who's like as dark as Batman, and he's very much so about vengeance at the start as well. Like, you know, he's trying to basically in the beginning of his story, it's like, you know, he gets stranded on an island for 5 years. He finds out his dad had this list of people that he was trying to, like, you know, clean up the city and stuff. So he takes on the role of basically clearing off his dad's list of enemies or whatever. And he's proper out, like, killing people and all, like, and I just think that'd be such a cool story to do for the big screen. I'd love to see it, and I think it'd be interesting.
You know, one thing that reminds me of like these dark characters is the Flash, and I know that they're trying to do the Flash right, and I really hope that they do, because I vaguely remember that in the animated shows, like between Batman and Barry, like it's known that Batman actually respects Barry so much but doesn't show it. Like he knows what Barry's been through. He knows that Barry's like an actual hero, and he puts Barry high on that pedestal. He's a very like, and doesn't the Flash have a very like tragic past as well? Like it's very similar to Batman. So
yeah, his mother was murdered and his father was framed for the murder, so he kind of grows up an orphan himself in a way, because he basically sees the Reverse Flash kill his mother, and no one believes him. He's only like an 8-year-old child at the time, and everyone thinks he's mad. And he spends his whole life kind of trying to be, you know, trying to stop criminals and stuff. So he becomes like a forensic scientist and all this sort of thing. And then obviously the accident happens that makes him become the Flash. But yeah, like I love the Flash's story. Like, you know, and then, you know, once he learns to time travel, it's like he's gonna go back and try and save his mother's life, and in doing that he creates Flashpoint, and that's the mess that we're gonna see shortly. Like, you know, so I'm curious, but definitely, like, I could see how Bruce and Barry would connect like that. Like, you know, they have quite a similar past.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
When's Flashpoint coming out, or the Flash?
Summer, I think, July maybe. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Apparently we're getting a trailer for Thor next week.
Ooh.
And a Kenobi trailer, I think,
wait.
as well.
Ooh. Kenobi?
Yes, sir. I think the Kenobi trailer was meant to be this week, but didn't happen for some reason.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we already see the last trailer for Morbius?
Yeah, I think we watched it Did we watch it on? We watched it on the podcast last week.
Well, I know we did the talking head with Jared Leto, and then they were saying that there was going to be a trailer on Monday. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I watched
We
it.
haven't
Yeah.
watched it.
Oh, did we
like,
not?
I'm like, whatever, bro. Like, I've seen enough of trailers for this movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing new, bro.
It's out. I think it's out on April 1st. So it's going to be the
This
next thing.
movie's gonna bomb, bro.
I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good.
It might be a good movie. It's gonna bomb at the box office.
Well, whether it bombs or not, Hoffman, I really think that it's going to open up new things for the Marvel universe, and I think that's all that they're trying to do. Like, it can be as garbage as possible, like if it happens to be, but it might open up new things for Marvel because it's in association with Marvel, so it's got some ties.
I think Toby shows up in the movie, and then it just turns into a box office smash. People will, like, day one will hear it's like, fuck, Toby shows up, and then everyone's gonna be like, oh shit, I have to go see it now.
All right.
I'm thinking we might see Blade.
That'd be
You think we're gonna see Blade in this? No way, bro.
I think we're gonna see Blade.
Do you think that Michael Keaton is actually Vulture in this movie? Because I hear people.
No, I think he's Batman.
Imagine. I hear people saying that like it's actually just a variant. It's not actually Toombs from the fucking 616. Like, because how is he over? How is he over there? Like, yeah, like it doesn't make any sense.
It would have to be.
It
would have to be, and they just establish him. That's it.
Yeah, because like there's a theory that maybe Morbius goes over to the 616 like during the spell or something, but then it's like they were trying to make this movie since like 2018. How would they know about all that? Like, I don't think that kind of adds up at all. I think it's I think it's a variant. I don't think it's actually the Vulture that we know. Maybe it's not even Vulture. Maybe he's not even Vulture, and we're getting thrown off completely by it.
Leave it to Sony to like put Michael Keaton in the trailer to get us all to go see it because we think he's Vulture.
Like, I know Keaton's been out there kind of saying that he's shooting stuff for Vulture. Like, he'll put up pictures and be like, I'm shooting for Vulture today. And people know that he's on the Morbius set. So I don't know if that's him trolling or if he's just kind of saying shit that he maybe shouldn't. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, they haven't shut him up yet, did they?
You guys are nuts. There's no way this movie's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good.
Like, I think
at the very like Venom Plus. It's like going to be Venom, but like a little bit better.
What did Venom finish on in the box office? Can one of you check it?
Oh, I don't know. Or
the Carnage.
Do you want to do Venom 1 or 2?
No, Carnage. Yeah. I think the first movie was actually a big success financially. It was a shit movie, but it was a big success financially.
I'm gonna guess 15 million.
15.
I'm guessing 15 million.
So the first one was 856.1 million.
That's a little more.
The second one did worse. It was 502.1 million.
I think that's pretty good. 500 million is good for like a pandemic movie that was shit,
And this is gonna shock you. That's just about how much Batman Begins made. Like Christopher Nolan's Batmans were not like $1 billion movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also shows that Spider-Man Far From Home made 1.132 billion like overall. That's crazy.
Yeah. Because that movie wasn't like very strong at all, and it broke $1 billion.
Yeah.
Until No Way Home, it was Sony's highest grossing movie of all time, and it wasn't even a smash. And then now No Way Home is like the highest grossing movie domestically in the US of all time, which is crazy considering Avatar's been released like 4 times.
James Cameron is such an ass. Who's still going to see Avatar? Who's seeing the re-release Avatar and showing up like, oh yeah, bro, can't wait to see this one again. Yeah. Like, who is that?
It's been has it been over a decade already?
Yeah, I think it came out in 2009, bro.
Oh god.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that movie and I thought like, yeah, it was good, it was fun. Didn't watch it in 3D because I was just like, the 3D was shit back then. I thought, it kind of made me sick, and it was like, unless you were sitting at perfectly center in the middle of the theater, it didn't work at all. So I was like, fuck this, I hate this 3D shit. And like, even now, like, I'll opt to go see something in 2D. I don't really like watching shit in 3D at all.
I can't 3D's a gimmick. I don't like the goggles.
I know, like, obviously
as an eyeglass wearer,
all of us as eyeglass wearers, and like, my glasses are pretty big, but if I have to go, I have to put them on over my other glasses, so I'm wearing 2 pairs of glasses like a fucking idiot. And yeah, it's just shit. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And if they could all agree on the same format, I would go out and get eyeglasses that were 3D ones specifically, just so I could do it right. But they're all
That'd be cool.
different.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, these bastards.
They're not thinking about us at all.
But I mean, I don't think Morbius is going to be a flop. I think it's going to be good enough. I think
Flop.
it's going to be it's at least going to do a little bit better than Venom 2.
I think
Worse than Shang-Chi numbers.
I think this movie does 700 million in total.
What?
Wow.
Oh my god.
That's worldwide when it's all
You
said
know we're
and
not
done.
talking about the Batman, right? We're not talking about Batman?
Batman, I think, breaks $1 billion easily.
I don't think it breaks $1 billion. Well, maybe it does.
I think it does.
Well,
Just
I was shocked.
just to the fact that I went to see that film today at 2 p.m. on a Friday, and the
Yeah.
cinema was sold out.
It's good enough too. It should be $1 billion movie.
I think it will be.
But-
I think it will be.
I'm nervous about that prediction only because when I went and saw the other numbers for like Batman Begins and stuff, I didn't realize like it was only like $500 million. That like shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think Batman wasn't really in a good place at the time of Batman Begins. If you remember, like, you know, if you think back to the Batman that we saw before that was it Clooney?
Yeah, Clooney was the last one.
Clooney was right before things. So, like, you know, Batman was a joke. So I think when Batman Begins came out, I think people maybe had to wait a little bit, and then after they saw it, they went, "Oh shit, okay, this is good." Like, what did Dark Knight do? What did Dark Knight do in the box office?
$1 billion. I just looked it up.
I'd say so. Yeah, easily. Like,
Yeah.
Eked out $1 billion. Eked out an easy $1 billion.
yeah, I think this movie really does. I'm very curious. Like, I'll be watching the numbers very closely. Like, I'm fascinated by that stuff. So, like, you know, Sunday night, Monday morning will be a good time to check the numbers again, see how it did in the first weekend. But again, if it doesn't globally do like 200 million in the first weekend, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Being honest,
I know.
I'd be shocked.
I know they say it's like the second biggest opening since outside of Spider-Man over the last 2 years. Like it's beating anything else that Marvel's put out.
Yeah, because like as well, like, you know, if you remember back, like the Omicron variant was like popping off in Europe anyway. Around the time of the release of Spider-Man, so I think that could have actually hurt Spider-Man in the global numbers a little bit. Like, I think if COVID wasn't around, that movie was $2.5 billion, like, easy. I genuinely believe that. Like, I think that's endgame numbers. Like, I think this movie can do over $1 billion easily, and I think just with where everybody is, I think this Leto movie does like 700 million. I really do. I think we're out the other end of COVID. Everyone's going out again. You know what I mean? And like, this is long in the making, and Leto looks good in it, and I think it pops off. I think everyone's on a Spider-Man hype right now, you know, and I think anything to do with that is going to just sell.
Do you like the Batman more than Spider-Man?
Sorry?
Do you like the Batman more than Spider-Man?
I was thinking about that as I walked out of the theater.
That's a yes.
As I was to be honest, it's a no. I think I did prefer Spider-Man more. I was walking out of the theater and I was thinking to myself, like, did I absolutely like love that movie? And the answer is no. I wasn't like obsessing over it. Like, as I was driving home, I wasn't thinking about it. Whereas after I saw Spider-Man, I was just like frazzled after that film. Like, I was just like thinking about everything. Like, me and my girlfriend were chatting in the car on the way home and just talking like about everything. Whereas with this movie, the two of us were walking out. It was like, that was amazing. It was incredible. It was great. Is it definitely the best Gotham? Blah blah blah. But I wasn't like obsessing over it like I was with Spider-Man. But I still think it was an absolute masterpiece, to be honest. Like, Matt Reeves, like, fucking take a bow, sir. Like, it was like incredible. Take a bow.
He hasn't made a bad movie yet, baby.
What are some of his other stuff? Like, I don't even, off the top of my head, I don't think I know.
He did the whole Planet of the Ape movies. That was like his big, or not his biggest one, but that's like his big AAA. He did Cloverfield. I don't think I know anything else he's done, but
yeah, Cloverfield was interesting, and those, I'm not a big fan of like Planet of the Apes, but those like newer movies were definitely like entertaining. I wouldn't like, you know, pay money to own them or anything like that. Like, but like if they went up on a streaming service, I'd watch it if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm not buying them on Blu-ray, like, you know.
That's so funny. I like the Batman more than I did Spider-Man because I like walking out of Batman. I felt like I saw a piece of like art, like a real
Yeah.
piece of cinema that I just don't get the sense from any MCU movies. Like MCU movies really do feel like fun roller coaster types of movies that you know kind of what's going to happen. And like the surprises and the twists are what kind of like, you know, the way they like try to hold back who's going to be in it, what's going to come up, what's happening, versus this one where it's like, if you knew the entire storyline going into this movie, you would still have a 10 out of 10 experience in my mind because the filmmaking in it is that great. Like the scenes are so good.
Yeah, I cannot get over how much of like I just absolutely loved the intro to this movie. Like it was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was so good, and it was just so dark and gritty, and you just like got absolutely sucked into the world like straight away. And I think if you're a big like film fan, this movie is for you. Like it's a proper like film, like it's a proper like movie experience. Like, you know, if you're into the whole like making side of it, if that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah.
Spider-Man or
Yeah,
Batman?
I still have to go Spider-Man. I had such a great time with the Spider-Man movie that I totally knew what was going to happen, and I was excited to see it. And as much as I was ready to see like those moments where you were like it's destined for you to cry, I tried my best to be ready for it, and I still cried during that scene with Aunt May. Seeing Spider-Man have such a hard time, especially as a kid, and actually crying and then being comforted by his other like counterparts, it's so heartbreaking and heartfelt. It's so it's amazing.
It is.
And with the Batman, he's all alone, so it's really tough for him to like deal with that. And I think it's kind of a nice parallel. Like Spider-Man No Way Home, he had people that could support him and take and like comfort him and help him understand that like he's, you know, he's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. Whereas, you know, Robert Pattinson, he had to basically act and make it seem like I don't know what to do kind of situation, and I'm lost. I don't know who I am yet. And it's completely different. So I really liked Spider-Man. Like I liked Spider-Man more, but I did ultimately really enjoy the Batman. And I wanted to point out, like in the intro, I don't know if Matt Reeves read like any sort of comic at the beginning, like before making that intro, but holy crap, that was an intro of like a comic. Because when you think about it, the inner monologue that occurs within the Batman when he's talking about everything that's going on, and I could just picture the panels.
Yeah.
I could picture like the panels of like the helicopters flying by and shining a light on some enemies, and you know the darkness, and then like you see the panel go over and it's like the darkness here, the darkness there, and you don't know which darkness actually holds Batman. And then you see it pan over, and then you see the Batman slowly walking out. And I really think that was a comic book like moment, iconic comic book moment.
I can't wait
Because
to
you
watch
see
that
that
again.
intro.
Cannot wait to watch that again. What an intro.
Yeah, I agree.
What a like
Yeah.
strongest intro to a movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I just feel like Spider-Man was like 20 years of movies all brought together, and kind of like, you know, like the legacy of like the old Spider-Man and stuff like that. Like it was as much their movie as it was Tom's movie, and I just think it's different. Like I can't put them in the same category. I know they're both superhero movies, but I really don't put them in the same category. Like I think the Spider-Man movie is like 20 years of storytelling, like brought to a kind of conclusion, and finishing out a trilogy, whereas this is a brand new beginning. Like this is an origin story. Like, so I can't really say one's better over the other. I think they're both fantastic, and they're in what they tried to do. They're both 10 out of 10 in my book. Like,
Yeah.
God damn. I can't wait to go see this movie again. Outside of it being 3 hours, I'm like, I want to see it again.
yeah, I could watch it again.
I was debating on whether or not I could get up early enough to watch it because I stayed up late, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to go see it.
I don't think I'd be rushing to go see it, and that's not a bad reflection of the film. I just think I'd like to let it sell for a couple of weeks and then maybe go back and see it again before it leaves the cinema. Maybe like I'm not gonna like rush out to see it again at the weekend or anything. But whereas I felt with Spider-Man, like I was like, oh my god, let me watch that movie again as soon as possible. Like I would have watched it the next day if I could have, you know.
A quick side note about one of the characters. Now I know they mentioned his name is Oz. Did they ever say Cobblepot or Penguin? I can't remember.
They did mention Cobblepot, and Oz, obviously short for Oswald. Yeah, but I think he is credited on IMDb as like Oz / Cobblepot, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't have his iconic, moniker name yet because he hasn't, uprisen. So
well, they bring it up. Remember the scenes where they're
Do
like,
they?
what's a a bird without wing or a bird with wings that can't fly and stuff.
They do.
Right.
They do refer to him as the Penguin. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I love that the Iceberg Lounge was in it, like, because that's like where the Penguin hangs out in the comic books and stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, the Iceberg Lounge. I don't think we've seen that in the film yet.
I just can't wait. I'm just hoping that in the future, like Colin Farrell is as the Penguin, just has like all these rings, and then he has like the fur coat and the cane, and he just walks out like
He's
pimp.
the Don. Yeah, I'm just so curious as to like when and where that show is gonna like set place. Like when are we getting it? And like where is it gonna be in the timeline?
I mean, like fuck, like I'm still not convinced on TV shows, bro. When it comes to comic book movies, I'm not convinced.
HBO Max is very hit and miss. But if they can do anything like what Peacemaker did, and I don't know if Matt Reeves will be involved in the TV side of things. Hopefully he is. Maybe he's not. I don't know. If he is, we're in good hands. If he's not, it could be shite. But I really think, even if you have a mediocre script, I think Colin Farrell just transforms anything that's on page to a fantastic screen performance. And if it's something that's if we're focused on him as the main character, like I just think it's going to be great.
Well, there's definitely some positives and negatives as to where you place the TV show, because if you were to place it before the events of the Batman, then you can turn it into a sort of uprising of Cobblepot actually amassing a few thugs of his own that he can run, like in the shadows, or like his kind of like rise to being a captain underneath Falcone before he takes over. The only negative is that, like, I don't know how much boast you can have with that. I don't know like how much you can actually run with that, and it might fall off kind of early. If you do it after, then you get to see the positive is that you get to see like the after effects. You get to see like Falcone's gone, I'm the new Lord, and I can amass people, and it's kind of the same scenario. So that's kind of like the positive there, is that we get to see his uprising and how he kind of amasses his own crew. I would say the negative though is that, like, depending on the time framing, what if we see too much? What if we're now going to speculate a little too much, and then we start forgetting like who like about Cobblepot, and we're more concerned with like Gotham itself or Batman, and wondering where the hell he is.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario is that they do, because again, we're a year 2 Batman, right? So this show maybe sets place like 5 years ago, and like it kind of leads into where we see him at the start of the movie, like, so when the show's over, we get Batman 1, and then, the Gotham PD show could potentially be in the same place, like, how is the Joker in Arkham? Maybe we get told that story in the Gotham TV show, I don't know if it was Batman that put him there. Like, I think maybe we are to think that, but like, we don't know. He could have got put there by Gotham PD, and that could be like, a way that they kind of expand the universe that way through a TV show. But I think if they set this show after the events of that movie, I'm just going to spend the whole time going, where's Batman? And I don't,
exactly.
And I don't think that Pattinson's going to show up for TV. I really don't. Unless, if Matt Reeves is involved in making it, maybe he will. Kind of like John Cena did with them going from Suicide Squad into a TV show, because obviously James Gunn was there. But I don't think you get Robert Pattinson on TV unless it's fucking the same shit that we saw on the big screen, on the small screen, you know? And I don't think that they can do that.
Yeah.
So I really think that they need to stay away from the movie timeline for now, anyway. Because I don't think you're getting Robert on TV. And if the show sets place after the fucking movie, I'm just gonna be like, where's Batman? Why is he not here? Why is he not jumping in? Like, you know, we're obviously gonna see Cobblepot getting up to some shit, and it's gonna be like the whole time, where the fuck is Batman? You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to do it. Is like Cobblepot's rise through the mafia.
Yeah.
Could be the only like honest to God take they could do. Because if you don't have like, who's going to be the antagonist of Penguin in this? Like, who's going to be? It's have to be another mobster or something. Because it can't be a hero. It can't be Batman. You know, there's no
Could be
other
Gordon.
like.
They could link
Might
it
be
in.
Gordon.
Yeah, they could link it in with the TV. Like, you know, they have a Gotham TV show, and then the Penguin show, and then they both cross over. So like we have a show that kind of intros Penguin and how he gets to where he is, and then maybe they do the Gotham show, and then the two of them cross into each other like they're the same story or something. That'd be kind of interesting. And like Jeffrey
And we
Wright
could-
does TV, like, you know, he's a TV star as well, so
Right.
you know he's down to do it. Sorry. So like, yeah,
And we
I
could
think
all-
that could work.
Yeah, and we could also see the rise of corruption between like the police officers and wanting to get that charitable money. And like that would be really cool to see. Also, like as a quick note, I would love to see Cobblepot kind of get bigger. You know, I'd like to see him like as a slender kind of guy, and then as he's rising in power, he's gaining like the infamy, and because he's so comfortable and like feeling like he's on top of the world,
Turns
he
into a
just
fat cat,
eats
like.
and gets
Yeah.
because he's like, you know, he's
he's
the
cozy.
aristocrat of like
I know what you
that'd
mean.
be really cool.
That would be
I
good.
hope Cobblepot gets a back to tank. We just get flashbacks of him the whole season.
And it's like him as a
My dream.
youth, it's just Colin Farrell. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. Guys, we've been talking for 2 hours and 10 minutes just about Batman. How crazy is
Oh
that?
my god. Not that crazy after I've seen that movie, I'll be honest.
True.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Did you guys
Yeah.
get into any of the Star Wars Galactic Cruiser news? I cannot get off of this stuff. I'm gonna
No.
take you to it.
Tell us all.
The reception to the Star Wars hotel cruise ship thing that Disney did. It is I'm so addicted to this coverage and how bad everyone in Star Wars is trashing the thing. It's been delightful.
Yeah. Like, I've seen some footage of, like, Rey fighting Kylo and stuff, and it doesn't make any sense to, like... Because, like, the Star Cruiser experience is supposed to set place between Episode 8 and 9. And, like, there's, like, continuity errors because Kylo's mask was destroyed between those two movies, but he's wearing the mask during this and stuff.
It's so good, dude.
I know,
It's so
dude. It's
bad.
It's crazy. The bit where she
6,000.
the bit where she comes in and turns on the lightsaber and then just like falls down to the floor and picks up the other one. It's like have her walk behind a wall or something and like be handed like the combat saber.
Yeah, like have
Jesus.
Kylo do something where he throws something at her so she has to duck down real quick and she grabs another saber.
Anything's better than what I saw. Like it was shocking. Like she literally
Man.
like because those things like apparently they're very flimsy. Those lightsabers like they're not combat ready at all. So like she's like you could see she's like gently placing it down and picking up another one and then like the fight starts. Like bro, I'd be fucking going crazy if I if I spent $6,000 for that shit. I'd be going mad.
Bro. I was dying watching that stuff and like the dude, there's like Star Wars line dancing there where they teach everyone to do a line dance. Oh yeah,
Oh my god.
it's there.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. That's the only Star Wars thing I got this week just because I've seen that and I've been watching all of it. And of course, I live in Orlando, so it's like right here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, dude. Like it's not good. It's not good. And like
At
I saw the I think I saw an interview with a woman who I think she's like the park manager or something, and she's like, yeah, look, we know it's not for everybody, but like you know, if you can afford to get here, I think you're going to enjoy what you see and stuff like that. And it's like the people that are going.
Who
I
is
think
it for?
Yeah, I don't know who it's for.
Like, you know, okay, there's probably some, childless kids or childless adults who are in a relationship. They don't have kids and they have good paying jobs, but that's
Yeah.
a small market. Like,
Yeah.
are those people Star Wars fans in the first place? Are they people who would like to go to Disney in the first place? And then like if you do have kids, it's like an $8,000 experience if you have kids or something, man.
Oh, bro.
Jesus.
Like it's six grand just for accommodation. That's before you
Yeah.
spend a cent in the parks, like. And I know that they include food, but like the food looks terrible. So like, you're gonna want to go out and get some real meals, like. And then like for someone like me, if I was flying over from Ireland, like I'm spending like $3,000 on flights to get 3 people over here, like, or whatever, or 1,500, I'd say minimum for flights, like, So that's turned it into a $7,500 trip before you've even spent $1 in the parks. Like, it's wild. And then if I'm there, I'm gonna want to buy loads of merch and stuff, like, and the merch is crazy overpriced as well.
Yeah. And like
No,
you're paying $6,000, and from what I heard, the food is delicious. It might look a little weird, but they're like, this is the best Disney food I've ever had.
Okay.
Which I've had some of the best Disney food. They have some legitimate chefs in there who turn out great food.
Yeah, it looked revolting.
Yeah. Here's what turns me: you're paying $6,000, and then you got to buy your alcohol. You got to pay for your cocktails out there. You're out of your mind, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. What do you think make of the whole, like, kind of, I think I mentioned this in your stream the other day, but like I heard that you can sign a waiver that they will listen to your conversations. They're tracking you the whole time that you're there.
Yeah.
So if you mention like the New Order or whatever, if you mention Kylo Ren, something might happen where he'll walk past you. Like, they try and keep it like to this immersive experience that, if you're talking about like a space battle taking place or something like that, like shit will start happening outside and all this stuff.
That seems fun.
It sounds fun, but
Yeah.
it sounds like an absolute invasion of your privacy at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because like while you're in your room, like behind closed doors, like apparently they can still hear what you're talking about. Sounds kind of risky.
It is, but like I'm already used to it with my phone, bro. That ship has sailed for me. I'm like, whatever, man. Like I know that like the CIA has all my conversations I've ever had. Like I've already given up on the idea of privacy in this new world. So if you're gonna do it so I could see cool Star Wars stuff, I guess, like, send it. At least it's fun.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about how, like, they wish it kind of incorporated the first 40 years of Star Wars. They put in some like OT stuff and some like prequel stuff. It's like you just have the time frame between 8 and 9, which is like, by the way, the worst fucking time period of Star Wars on record. Like, those two movies were the biggest load of dog shit ever. Like, if it was around the time of episode 7 was we were kind of up in the air about that movie, because it was like, was it good? Like, the first time I saw episode 7, I really liked it. I was like, wow, Kylo's cool, Rey's cool, Finn's cool. Like, the movie looked spectacular. Can't believe they killed Han, but like, like, just good movie. And then it's just fucking dropped off, and now it's like you have an immersive experience that's set place between the two movies that I hate the most ever. Like,
and like, I'm not saying that no one doesn't like those movies, because there's obviously people out there.
There is,
But who loves them enough to go spend $6,000 on that experience, right?
Yeah.
Where like, if you got on there and you had like a Luke character show up, you had an Anakin Obi-Wan character show up, like those are beloved. Those are like things that people would drop money on and like lose their shit seeing. Because even for me, as dorky as it is, when I go to Disney and I step on the Millennium Falcon and you're on the Falcon, you're on it. You can touch the walls, like where the chessboard is.
Yeah.
You stand in that lobby and like I feel it. I'm like, I get a little like I'm like, oh my god, bro.
Can't believe I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, but then like I would not get that for Rey or Kylo or anything on there.
No.
Yeah, but it's just like Finto said, though. It's for the newcomers. It's for the kids. It's for the people that look up to Rey now, like that they see Rey as their hero.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren, although he is the villain, like some people really like Kylo Ren's character.
Oh yeah, Kylo was my favorite part of those movies, to be honest.
Any kid that likes those movies, like, they don't deserve to fucking have an opinion yet. Like,
What if they haven't seen the original trilogy yet, or the prequel trilogy?
Exactly. They don't know how bad it is. They don't get to say in this. Like,
Well,
we can't do anything for these kids. They haven't seen everything.
Imagine as part of this, like, you got to walk around Naboo or something, like, or Coruscant or something, or like a Trade Federation ship or something, like the prequel stuff, like, and you got to see droids like kind of plastered around the place and stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool. Like, go into the Jedi Council and all, go into the room, like the council room and all. That'd be badass.
I'm shocked.
Where
I am shocked this isn't set on Naboo.
Yeah.
For $6,000, this is like a Naboo-like excursion.
Yeah.
Where you should have like the fanciest Star Wars stuff you've ever seen. Like it's a resort type of deal. Like that's huge. But you're right. Like there's nothing that you would love. Like you said, if you go to an excursion and see the Jedi Council Order on Coruscant, like that would be incredible to walk into, bro. Incredible.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It would. But yeah, there's nothing for like the time frame of 40 years. The first 40 years of Star Wars aren't like celebrated at all during this, and that's like fucking Disney paid $4 billion to own this stuff, and they don't make any reference to it whatsoever. Like they're not doing anything for the fans. Like it's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the greatest idea people I've heard is like that area, the Star Wars area at Hollywood Studios here. It's all based around the sequels, and they should really do it seasonal, where it's like some part of the years, it's based in the prequels. Some part of the years is based in the original trilogy, and they change out the way the stormtroopers look. You can still have Chewie walking around like it's no big deal. But yeah, you go there and it's all just like this latest version of Disney Star Wars, and it just feels dumb. And you're on Batuu, which I'm not saying they can't make a good story based around Batuu, but why not make a story based around Batuu? Like, let's get some Star Wars content made on the TV or whatever around that area, because right now you're just walking around. It's like, it just feels like a cheap market.
And they got to appeal to the kids, man. It's always going to go back to the kids.
George did say they're kids' movies.
Are they, George? Look at what the princess is wearing, George. You sick freak. Princess Leia is enough in wearing nothing, and this is for the kids.
I know.
I mean, it's for the more mature kids.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is one of those weird, like not weird, but it's one of those like properties that has fans of every age. Like, over the last 40, 50 years, there's people that saw those original movies in the cinema when they were kids, and they're still fans now. And they're in their 50s, like. So it's. I think you need to cater for something like that. You need to kind of cater for the older audience as well. Like they're the ones. They're the ones fucking paying for it. Like there's no 11-year-old Rick Ray fans that are throwing out $1,500 to stay at a hotel. It's their fucking parents who are doing it, and most likely their parents are probably OT Star Wars fans. So it's like, give them something, please. I just I'm all about like giving representation to Ray and Kylo and all that stuff. They're the current era. That's fine, but give the old people something as well. Like, like it doesn't need to be just set around episode 8 and 9. Like you can go back and, do different time periods in different parts of the park or whatever. Like, like why not?
Give him a rocking chair with the Tomfa blanket.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem with them like going to the prequel era right now, or I'm sorry, the sequel era, is that feels dead. They're not doing anything with it anymore. It's dead in the water. The newest Star Wars stuff coming out is stuff that's set in between the original trilogy and the sequel, the sequels. Yeah. Like, why is
Obi-Wan.
Like why is it So why are we like shoehorning this to just Rey and Kylo when you should have the Mandalorian walking around there, bro? Like, I don't know how I haven't gone to Disney and seen the Mandalorian yet walking around on Batuu.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Obi-Wan Kenobi show is going to be like, it's the biggest thing in Star Wars like in years. Like, like a lot of people are not fans of the sequel trilogy, and the last good thing they saw was like Revenge of the Sith, like in 2005, and they haven't really seen anything amazing since then. And this story is just the sequel to that, so it's like so many people, like myself included, like I haven't felt this excited about seeing Star Wars content since I was like 16 years old. Like, so it's like fucking hell. This is the make or break moment, like I think for Star Wars right now. If this show flops, Star Wars could be dead. Like, it's scary to think it. Like,
yeah, I agree, bro. If they mess up Obi-Wan, like I don't want, like I have no desire to watch anything Star Wars.
Yeah, anything.
Like ruin Obi-Wan's character for me, and I'll never come back. I just won't. I don't care.
Yeah, that's sad to hear, though.
It is. I don't really have any other news from the week. I don't know if you guys have anything else to bring up.
Just the only thing I have to say is that 2 days immediately after Moon Knight drops, Morbius drops. Yeah. So we're getting back-to-back Marvel-based stuff, like between those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's fantastic. we've got a couple of dry weeks coming up here, but then we're like end of the month. It's gonna be like Moon Knight's gonna be incredible, and I think the Morbius movie will be a good movie for us to talk about as well. So, do you know what I mean? We've got, I think in that first week we'll have the first episode of Moon Knight and maybe Morbius as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be a good cast that night.
Yeah,
and I'm sure we're going to reach a certain point during this month where we're going to get some more maybe TV spots or even like another trailer coming up, because I think Hofmvn mentioned that there's a possibility that Thor: Love and Thunder is going to get a trailer soon, right?
I said that.
that was
Yeah,
Finto.
yeah, that's rumored for next week. First trailer for Love and Thunder. I saw I don't know if you guys were shown the last trailer for Multiverse of Madness before Batman. I saw it on the big screen for the first time.
Oh.
The new trailer, I was like, oh my god, Patrick Stewart on the big screen. I was like, yes. It was
I
so
didn't
good.
get to see trailers, bro. I literally walked in as the movie was starting.
Oh, really?
Because my girlfriend really wanted like fried mozzarellas, and it took him like 20 minutes to make fried mozzarellas in the counter.
Fuck.
I'm like, oh my god.
I'd be like, see you in there. I'll get your seat ready for you.
So the really crazy thing for the showing with like Mex and I, when we sat down, I was thinking there were going to be some like, trailers popping up or anything. It literally counted down to when Batman started, and it was on the dot.
Nice.
As soon as it hit 7:00 PST,
Yeah.
it started.
I'm a fan
Like,
of that.
no-
I'm a fan of
jokes.
that. Like, I want to see the movie, but at the same time, like, I do enjoy watching trailers on the big screen. It just gets you.
Yeah.
It gives you that proper taste of what it's going to be like, the movie on the big screen. Like, So, like,
Bro,
for me,
I got so nervous. My theater like literally had Uncharted on the door. I guess it was like a last minute change that they're gonna show Batman. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be Batman, bro. Like we might be watching Uncharted.
oh my god,
Might be
dude!
terrible.
When you said nervous, it just brought back a memory. There was a point in my movie during the funeral scene where the audio dropped off for a second and the whole theater went quiet, and it dropped off for like 2 seconds, I'd say, and I could see the mouths move, and so I missed a tiny bit of dialogue for a second, and I turned to my girlfriend and I was just like, I was about to fucking go mad. I was about to go crazy, and then it just kicked back in. I could hear it going like, and then it was back. And I was just like, my girlfriend turned to me just going, I was about to lose my shit there. I was like, oh my god, if that actually happened where like there was a technical difficulty and the film shut down, I would have been fucking raging. Like, I was just like, oh thank god they fixed it. But my heart, man.
Real quick though, let's pull it back into Batman for a quick second. How have we not talked about that funeral scene? Like with that guy like strapped the bomb to his neck.
Yeah, that was
and
cool.
he's
The
holding
DA.
the phone.
Yeah.
Like that was an insane scene. That felt so like intense. Like I was wondering, like, is he going to be saved? Is he going to die? What's going to happen? And it was so good.
Yeah.
No,
well,
that's like the whole setup for it, man. Because the minute that what happens to him in the car, you don't know how it's gonna play out. You know it's gonna happen at the church, and then they like ran that car in there. He gets out, like he's holding the phone up like this. Oh my god, it was good.
yeah, dude.
And it's a good thing that the Batman was there too, and that he was allowed to help, because I was really thinking Riddler's gonna be like, no cheating, nobody can help you.
And did you guys have this in your movie theater? Because this is one of the best like sound designs I've ever seen in a movie. When he does, I think it was when he used the bat claw to get out of the police. But it's like I heard the bat, it like chinged only on one side of the movie theater,
Yeah.
and it like blew me away, bro. Because I was like, what the? Where did that come from?
I couldn't get over the rain. The rain was like, and I think I spoke about this already, but it felt like it was raining behind me. I nearly felt like I should be getting wet. Like, that's how real it was. Like, I was kind of like, ooh, I hate like the sound of like lashing rain, and I was just like, I actually kind of get that feeling as if I'm in a room and I'm just being like sheltered from the rain. Like, I thought that was fucking amazing. Like,
Yeah,
really, really good.
I really feel like Marvel's sound design lately has been a little mediocre and not really pulling me in the way I experience in other movie theaters or other movies, and like this one just it proved that to me. It's like they are not keeping up.
I think again, it just shows Matt Reeves is a fucking filmmaker, bro.
Yeah,
Like, filmmaker. Like, this was a film. Like, it wasn't a blockbuster movie. This was a film.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
calling him Bat Reeves.
Ado in the chat there just saying asking about if we talked about the chase scene. That was one of the best scenes in the film. Like the intro of the Batmobile and just that blistering sound of like the rocket like propeller like shooting and stuff. Like it was wild. Loved it.
Yep.
Insane.
And like, do you remember when this movie they first showed us the Batmobile? How everyone like so many people were just ragging on it. Like it just looks like a basic car. Like I heard that so much, and then it turns out this is the most intimidating Batmobile we've ever seen. It's the most intimidating Batmobile.
Yeah. I loved it from the second I saw it, to be honest, because like I loved how the engine was exposed on the back and all. I actually like got a picture of it, and I never use Facebook, but on my Facebook profile picture is the back of the Batmobile. That Batmobile, it's been there for like 3 years now. That's so funny.
So good.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful, dude. It's beautiful. Yeah, fucking hell, love it. I can't get over how good Catwoman was as well. Like we got such an amazing portrayal of Selena Kyle. Like I love her comic books. Like she's such an amazing character to read, and I just feel like that's what I'm seeing on the screen. You know, Anne Hathaway didn't really feel like Catwoman, like, you know, and let's not even talk about Halle Berry, and you know, even who was it? Was it Michelle Pfeiffer played her in the older one? Yep. She was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But I feel like we haven't seen like Selena in 20 years, like properly, like, you know, more.
Yeah. Man, that Michelle Pfeiffer scene with the whip, I can't remember if it was that she did all the heads in like one take. I think, like she managed it, either that or she was trained and then she like wow, but she did it all in succession, and they went with that.
How come the Batman theme song like sounded so familiar, like we've heard it before? Like it felt like the Batman theme song that was from another film, but not. And the closest I could get to in my head is that like it's kind of Imperial March, I think, a little bit like.
Yeah,
but
that was just, again, incredible scoring and composing, that it was like it was remixed like 5 or 6 different ways and just played like subtly through the film, that it just, I didn't get bored of it, you know, whereas if it was the same thing, and movies do this all the time, where they have the same fucking shit playing over and over again and you're nearly sick of it, like Wonder Woman in the Snyder Cut. But like it was so different each time. It was subtle, and like how they brought in Something in the Way by Nirvana and all. It was fucking beautiful, bro. Beautiful.
What about Ave Maria? They did, you know, they originally did Ave Maria, and then they kind of changed the key so that it would sound more ominous, and that was for like Riddler's theme. So how'd you guys feel about that? Like whenever you heard that, because you always heard it like Ave Maria, but it's like very like it's at a different note, so it's like ominous, and it felt like brooding.
No, they definitely like they put it into the minor or whatever. It definitely like changes the whole feel of it. You know, Ave Maria is kind of written in this like I think they call it like the godly chorus or something like that. Like there's a certain trinity of notes they use to make things. It's kind of like, you know, like the classic wedding song. It's like the same notes are used in Ave Maria for that like spiritual feeling, whatever. So like you change them up, and it's haunting. It feels Riddler, where it's like kind of it's bad. Like it feels like it could be normal on the surface, and then it's terrible.
Did any of you guys get a comic book when you went to the movie?
No, I saw that in chat. I saw on TikTok. I didn't get one.
I didn't get one either.
Yeah, I have it.
You have it? Nice.
Yeah. Do you want me to go get it?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
I'll bet you it's like people went to see the IMAX version. I
went to see it in IMAX. I'm just curious. I've asked Ado what cinema he went to, because maybe it's only one like chain of cinema that do it over here, maybe, or something. But I went to see it in cinema chain called Odeon, and they didn't do it. But maybe it's just AMC or something. Maybe it might just be an AMC thing.
Could be AMC, yeah, because there was a commemorative popcorn bucket that was like red and black.
Nice.
It definitely could have been an AMC thing.
Did you went to AMC? Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, dude. Oh, you went to Odeon? No way, I went to Odeon. Yeah, it's cool, bro.
Is it made just for the movie?
I wonder. I think
it's based on the Long Halloween.
But is it? I wonder, will it be in like comic book shops? I'll be curious to see if my comic book shop have it for me, because they usually like just keep anything Batman related for me. Like, yeah, that sucks if I didn't get it now. Oh my god, just talking about comic books for a second. There's a Batman FaZe Clan crossover happening it's a one shot that's coming out. I got an email about it today from the dude who owns the comic book shop that I go to, and he's like, do you want me to hold this for you? And there's like 4 different like variant covers of it. I was like, give me them all. And he's like, are you a fan of these FaZe guys? And I was like, I'm not a fan, but I know anything FaZe is worth money. So I was like, give me all the covers, and I'll keep them mint and hold them for years. But like, there's one that has Banks on the front of it. No.
Oh my god, bro.
Banks and Batman, bro.
Yeah, I wonder why DC's really, downsizing.
Yeah.
We just lost our Burbank offices. Oh yeah, let's put out a FaZe comic.
Yeah. I won't even read it, I don't think, but I just want to keep it because I think, it could be something to hold on to for value in the future. Like, I can't imagine they're going to sell too many copies of it. Or maybe they will, I don't know. It'll be like the Fortnite. The Fortnite crossover was like one of the biggest things that happened in DC over the last 10 years. Was that fucking Fortnite comic. Crazy.
How many skins did they have available from DC for Fortnite?
Like throughout that comic run, or just in general?
Just in general, like when they had the universe in Fortnite.
They've got like everybody. Like they've got Aquaman, Batman, Catwoman, fucking Joker, Harley Quinn. All of them, pretty much all the big guys are all there. But what I thought was quite cool about the comic was they basically did a thing where like Batman went through a portal and went into the Fortnite world and gets caught in the game of Fortnite, and then at the end of the game, like the storm's closing on him and everything, and he doesn't have a clue what's going on, and he doesn't remember who he is. It's actually really, really interesting. But then he gets to the end, and then he realizes that like he's back at the start and he's stuck in a time loop, but it's just the next game of Fortnite starting. And then he's like kind of realizing, oh shit, I have to try and kill everyone and get to the end, and then I get free. But then realizes that if he doesn't win the game, he doesn't get out of it, and he goes back to the start again. But I thought it was very clever. Yeah, it was interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was worth it. Like, and then if you bought the comic books, you got free shit like in Fortnite. So I was doing like giveaways because I bought all the covers because I think they might be worth money in the future. So. Guys, I think that's it for the week.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. Yeah. Marvelous Chats was a DC podcast this week. And I'm not angry about that at all. Guys, happy 1 year anniversary.
Look at us.
1 year anniversary.
1 year, episode 50. Crazy. It's mad actually to think that we only missed 2 weeks over the last year. Like we were here for 50 weeks of the last year. It's actually nuts. Like, so fair play to us. And
fair play to you, man. You kept it going a lot, man. I missed a lot of episodes, but you kept it.
Yeah, bro.
For all of them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's been going great.
I'm loving it, and I'm fucking here for the next 50 as well, so 100%. Guys, next week, what do you think? Would you like to maybe watch something and do a review of something? Or
what do we got?
I don't know, like, oh my god.
You can't even go to Netflix stuff anymore.
One thing I was going to say, just talk about Netflix, I fucking had Daredevil as my profile picture, and my profile picture's gone today. They whipped it down.
Oh no!
I'm so annoyed. I had Matt Murdock as my fucking profile picture for 5 years, maybe more. I'm so annoyed.
I'm sorry, man.
I know, it sucks. It sucks.
I mean, I know this might be like a stretch, but I do have like the digital comics of Moon Knight, and I know Moon Knight's coming up, and so we could probably read an issue like every week. I could probably see if I could post it for you guys.
Yeah.
And then we could chat about it.
Yeah, I'd be up for reading some comics and talking about that. I wouldn't mind watching Keaton's Batman. I think that could be a cool one to kind of talk about because Keaton's obviously coming back. And then Star Wars, I think, we could watch episode 3 before Obi-Wan starts. That could be a really cool one.
Yeah.
We could watch episode 3, geek out about that, and then we jump forward 10 years for Obi-Wan. Like, I think it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we get the Thor trailer, we'll have a lot to talk about too.
Yeah, the Thor trailer, and I think we'll get an Obi-Wan trailer next week as well, so we'll have a few trailers to talk about. I think there's always plenty to talk about, but I don't know. I kind of like when we, as a community, when we just kind of watch something and then we can kind of break it down, and especially if it's something that's old, there's people that aren't worried about spoilers and stuff like that. Like, so
True.
Yeah.
I'll get a bit of a community talk going in the Discord and stuff like that, and see if we watch something and we can just kind of geek out over it next week. I haven't seen Keaton's Batman in about 20 years, like, so I think
Same.
Yeah, I think that one would be a really cool one to watch, just because I know so much more about Gotham and everything now. I'd say there's so much stuff that went over my head the first time I watched that movie, you know. I think it could be a really cool one to watch. So Keaton's Batman's on my list anyway. And
which are we going to start from the beginning of Keaton's Batman, or are we going to watch like a certain movie?
how many did he do? 2?
Dude, I don't remember, bro.
I think he did.
I swear he did. I swear he did 3, but I could be wrong.
I think he did 2. Or did he? I thought did he do 1? I don't. How many movies did he do? I'm confused now. I know he did the one with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, so he did the one with Jack Nicholson. I could have sworn he did the one with. Didn't he do Batman and Robin, or was that someone else?
No, that was George Clooney. I think that was that not?
That was George Clooney.
Yeah, Clooney did the Batman Forever, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did.
And Val Kilmer did one then as well. So I think Keaton only did 1.
No, he did the Batman Returns, which is with Batman is with the Joker. That's the first one. Then he did Batman Returns, which involves the Penguin.
Yeah,
with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that was the one I saw the most as a kid. I think the one with Danny DeVito. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do his first one. Keaton's
So we'll do Batman?
Yeah, I think Batman. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
Clooney,
Ellie. I totally forgot. I totally forgot Clooney did it as well.
Kilmer as well. Oh, Clooney's one.
I love
so
the Kilmer
bad.
ones. I know they're not the greatest, but I love Val Kilmer as Batman.
I like him as well. I thought he was a really cool Bruce Wayne too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. 2 hours 40.
Right.
That's a good one. It's a marvelous chat, as always. Guys, if you missed it, or it'll be up on the YouTube, it'll be up on Spotify soon, hopefully, as well. I think we're a few episodes behind on Spotify, so hopefully we can get them up soon.
I'll get them all up tonight.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I appreciate you being here.
See ya.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.